Chapter 1. Reborn in Another World. Chapter 1. Reborn in Another World. Shi Yin woke up with a start. His head was throbbing in pain, as if it was filled with lead, and it felt extremely heavy. Once the pain decreased slightly, he found himself in a dimly lit stone cave which was the size of a basketball court. Piles of bones were scattered all over the place, and a dozen corpses covered in strange clothes lay beside him. The clothes looked new and bright, as if these people had died recently. Where is this? Is this still the Bahamas? Shi Yin, 27 years old, was an insane fanatic of extreme sports. His mother died early, while his father died of cancer in the prime of his life. But he had saved a fortune working his whole life. This left him with such a large amount of wealth which he could never use in a lifetime. He owned many things at an early age, which other people would pursue their entire life. Although young and rich, he had no future goals, which made him unhappy for a long time. At the age of 17, he had his first taste of extreme sports, which brought him unspeakable excitement. Given his large amount of wealth, he could undertake these sports as much as he liked, which ordinary people would not be able to afford this. Traditional extreme sports, such as free climbing, crocodile bungee, low-altitude parachuting, volcanic skateboarding, cliff diving, and limbo skating, brought him the greatest enjoyment and pleasure. The thrill of being on the verge of death invigorated him and made his blood boil. In 10 years, he had tried all sorts of the most dangerous extreme sports, due to which his body was extraordinarily strong. Hundreds of near-death experiences made his nerves as hard as steel. He once joked that he was the man who was closest to the Grim Reaper. The Blue Hole exploration in the Bahamas was his most dangerous extreme sports trip. Some of these blue holes were hundreds of meters deep, while some were complex like mazes. What's more, every little move could stir the sand up on the bottom of the cave. No matter how bright your light was, you wouldn't be able to see anything in front of you. Even if you were an experienced diver, you had to wear a steel wire before you jumped into a blue hole. The steel wire was the lifeline of explorers, and its length decided the distance explorers could go. Moving beyond that distance was tantamount to suicide, because nobody ever got out of that maze without a steel wire. According to the statistics from the Bahamas Maritime Institute, there was an average of 20 cave diving-related deaths in the Blue Hole, most of whom died from losing direction. In this dangerous extreme adventure, Shi Yin threw away his lifeline, the steel wire, entering into a suicidal adventure, and finally lost himself in the mysterious Blue Hole. And in the Blue Hole, getting lost meant certain death. Shi Yin lay collapsed on the ice-cold rock ground, looking at his surroundings with the aid of a dim light coming from the cave walls. In his mind, there appeared some memory fragments that didn't belong to him. This was the memory of another Shi Yin. That boy was 17 years old and had the same name as himself. He was attracted to antiques and was obsessed with all kinds of historical remains. Because of an ancient map, he strived for half a year and eventually got here with his guards. Feeling weak all over, Shi Yin frowned and slowly lifted himself up. Just then, to his surprise, Shi Yin noticed that this body was not his own, but that of the other Shi Yin, who was only 17 years old. He was dumbstruck for a moment. Didn't I die in the Blue Hole? No, I am still alive, but in an unbelievable way. According to the other Shi Yin's memory, this place was called Grace Mainland, where there was no science or technology. There were endless waging wars and warriors raging everywhere. Many dwellers here showed mysterious abilities not long after they were born. Some had the power of lightning, some could control plants, some could tunnel into the earth, some could use the chill of frost, and some were capable of communicating with demon beasts. People with these various abilities would all become warriors, and their abilities were referred to as martial spirits. Martial spirits were nearly all possessed at birth, and only very few could acquire a spirit through some stroke of luck. That is why this mainland was named Grace Mainland, as the warriors believed that martial spirits were God-gifted. Not every warrior could possess a martial spirit. In fact, the majority of warriors weren't blessed with one. Ordinary people could train hard to become a warrior, but there was no way to obtain a martial spirit through training. Martial spirits were so powerful that they could benefit a warrior's training, increasing their combat potential significantly and granting them their own special abilities. As a result, among warriors of the same level, those who owned a martial spirit tended to be much stronger and achieved significantly greater results. They did half the work with double the results. The martial spirit can be inherited through blood, plus there was a higher probability where one inherited the martial spirit. In general, if one of the parents possessed a spirit, there was a high possibility that their child would inherit the same spirit. If both of the parents had a spirit, their child would have an even greater chance to inherit one of their spirits, either from the father or the mother. There was only a 1 in 100 chance that a couple, who both possessed a martial spirit, would give birth to an ordinary child. Even rarer was the situation where the kid inherited both spirits from his parents. This inherent type of martial spirit was called twin spirits, and those type of lucky individuals which possessed them were also known as a son of God. It only happened to 1 in 10,000 couples who possessed different spirits. Yin stood there and continued to put the fragmented memories in order. The original owner of this body came from the Shi family. They possessed the petrification martial spirit which could make the body as hard as a rock in battle, preventing damage to the body. As said fighter raised their cultivation, the petrification martial spirit would become much stronger, to the point where they were almost indestructible. Unfortunately, this guy didn't inherit the petrification martial spirit, and was thus considered a poor successor for the martial arts that the Shi family trained in. He also showed no interest in martial arts, and never learned anything about them either. All he had been devoted to was the exploration of historical remains. Thanks to that ancient map, he had crawled through numerous heavy bushes and suffered a lot to arrive at this ancient cave. Woo woo woo. Hoo hoo hoo. Suddenly, a devil-like cry came from deep within the cave. Astonished, Yin looked around only to find a blood pool in the direction the voice came from. The blood pool, about 10 square meters in size, was located in the middle of the cave, filled with a red fluid which looked just like blood. It was bubbling on the surface and was giving out horrifying shrieks and howls when the bubbles popped. He realized that his escorts were driven insane by the howls, and they had started to kill each other. They all died in succession, while the 17-year-old Yin fainted from the frightening shrieks. It was all because of the blood pool. Yin stared at the blood pool with a rigid face. The howls slowly evoked the desire to kill within him, and made him want to kill anyone around him. His head was still aching and the howls from the blood pool never stopped tormenting him, which made it harder for him to concentrate. Must be the blood pool. With a grim expression, he tried to guard his mind. His countless near-death experiences had steeled his mind, and Yin managed to calm down. Although his head still ached, he was able to stay focused and walk towards the blood pool. Crack, crack, crack. Yin looked dignified. As he walked, gray, dry bones shattered under his feet. Judging by the pile of bones in the cave, he could only guess how many people had previously died in this place. The pool was the source of this evil. If he wanted to examine the secrets of the blood pool, he had to be prepared for death. As he got closer to the blood pool, the howls kept getting louder and louder, which drilled into his head like sharp knives. The sound of slaughter contained in the howls almost destroyed his reasoning. He wouldn't have been able to bear this pain if it weren't for the extreme conditions he faced for so many years that had slowly formed his spirit. A heap of bones was situated beside the blood pool. Some milky white bones also floated in the center of the pool. This small blood pool was like a sea of blood from hell, which had devoured an uncountable number of lives. Yin had a feeling that his soul was summoned here because of this bizarre blood pool. He thought maybe this blood pool was his ticket back to the earth. When he got closer to the blood pool, Yin suddenly found something strange. The blood in the middle of the pool was scarlet and thick, but he couldn't detect the slightest whiff of the scent of blood. On the contrary, the air around him was very fresh, even filled with an unexplainable fragrance. After careful inspection, he determined that the exotic fragrance actually came from the blood pool. Yin was full of curiosity and thought that there must be something weird in the blood pool. Again, he took a few steps forward. All of a sudden, an illusion of an endless sea, filled with scarlet red blood, entered his mind. Pile of corpses like a small island were there. Some of the bones were like those of the Cretaceous period dinosaurs and were as large as a small hill. There was a repeatedly screaming sound coming out from the blood sea. Kill, 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 kill. Shi Yin tried to stay calm, but he couldn't. His heart started to beat faster and faster. A suffocating and terrifying pressure overwhelmed him. He felt a familiar feeling like those near-death experiences he experienced back on Earth. He knew that the next step likely meant death. However, those dreary adventures over the years hadn't terrified him, but instead had given him the utmost pleasure. Being face to face with death and surviving all perils was the true definition of extreme sports. Step by step, one after the other. Under the calling of the blood pool, Shi Yin finally went up to the edge. He stared at the small blood pool. The insane side of his character had been triggered. He roared, "Let's see what you have to offer, small little blood pool." Then, he jumped into the pool. Chapter 2. The Body Remodeled. Chapter 2. The Body Remodeled. A sudden change occurred in the blood pool. As Shi Yin stood in the middle of the blood pool, the blood was already up to his waist. However, the blood in the pool started to move around as if it was alive, creeping up and down his body like vines. Seconds later, his whole body was tightly bound and covered with blood. The crimson blood in the pool was like vicious snakes, untiringly wrapping around him until it formed a bloody cocoon. A wave of intense pain spread throughout his body. Shi Yin felt as if his brain was being sliced into pieces. It felt even worse than death. It was as if tens of millions of tiny worms were drilling into his body and squirming around in his arms, legs, bones, and viscera, eating away his blood and flesh. Shi Yin couldn't see anything. He wanted to scream, but couldn't make a sound, and neither could his body move. A strange liquid started flowing slowly along his ribs like a small stream and tore open his veins wherever it passed. Then the liquid rapidly accelerated and separated into many strands, madly surging into the 720 meridians within his body. He felt that his 720 meridians had enlarged significantly as they interchanged between feeling scorching hot and biting cold. It felt extremely uncomfortable. The pain in his head grew stronger. In his dazed state, Shi Yin felt some weird changes happening within his meridians. Soon after, his meridians turned into madly swirling little cyclones. A small amount of the bright red liquid infused itself into every cyclone and was swiftly absorbed into them. After absorbing the liquid, the cyclones enlarged and the process sped up. It may be because of the intensity of the pain that was almost unbearable. In his dizzying state, Shi Yin felt that his body was like a huge vessel filled with the strange liquid. It was transforming him in ways he couldn't possibly imagine. Specifically, they were changing the 720 meridians in his body. As this thought flashed through his mind, he fainted. After a long time, Shi Yin awoke again. The searing pain had disappeared, replaced by a numb pain in his meridians. The liquid had returned to its origin and blood pool was tranquil. Unexpectedly, he felt a warm sensation swirling through his body. After this sensation made a complete cycle, he felt extraordinarily comfortable and his body had increased in strength. Profound qi. It dawned on him the blood pool finally brought him some benefits. The thing flowing through his meridians was clearly the profound qi which only warriors could obtain. Within the memory of the other Shi Yin, he came to know that profound qi was the source of power for warriors. It was the foundation for warriors to support and release powerful martial arts. Warriors were ranked into 10 realms, according to the strength of their profound qi. These were elementary, nascent, human, disaster, earth, nirvana, sky, spirit god, true god, and king god, with each realm containing 3 sky levels. Warriors were the most powerful individuals in this world. Profound qi determines the status one would have. One could be a warrior as long as he had the slightest amount of profound qi. Most people couldn't get profound qi throughout their entire life. Once obtained, they could strengthen it simply by training. Therefore, as long as a warrior possessed qi, They would always have their own place in this world. As the weak, profound qi gently circulated throughout his body, Yin came to his senses. Even if he couldn't go back to his world, he wouldn't starve to death here. Just then he noticed that the blood cocoon was still tightly wrapped around him. Yin spared no effort to struggle. Crack! A big slit cracked open on the blood cocoon, and Yin jumped out. Looking around, he found himself in that odd cave with bones everywhere. However, the blood pool had all dried up. In the dried-up blood pool, only a few pieces of broken bones were left. The bright red thick pool of blood had disappeared without a trace. A huge glittering blood cocoon, as thin as a wafer, towered in the center of the empty pool. However, after Yin only glanced at it, a small flame ignited at the bottom of the cocoon. The flame grew wildly and started to burn the bones. In a few minutes, the blood cocoon and the bones were all burned to nothingness. A red light sparkled in the dry pool. An old ring with intricate blood vein designs quietly lying there. Yin stared at the strange ring and assumed this ring was somehow connected with the blood pool. After a few seconds of hesitation, he stepped in again, picked up the ring, and wore it on the ring finger of his left hand. The ring carried a warmth that made Yin feel strongly connected to it, as if the ring had become a part of his body. All at once, the weak, profound qi in his body lost control and rushed towards the crimson ring. However, his skin blocked it and it failed to enter the ring. Yin was shocked and tried to take off the ring immediately, only to find the ring had been firmly stuck onto his ring finger like an unmovable boulder. No matter how hard he tried, the ring wouldn't move an inch. Now that the profound qi couldn't break the skin, it went back to normal after a while. The warmth and the red gleam on the ring faded away as well. Shaking the ring around for a moment, he realized that there was no longer anything unusual with it. Thus Yin started to analyze the situation. Soon, Yin concluded that all the blood in the pool went into his body. The blood pool was 10 square meters in size. Though not huge, the blood it contained would weigh at least a few tons. Even an elephant couldn't hold that much liquid inside its body. Yin turned pale. He subconsciously looked around and wanted to see how his body had changed. Had it swelled up? When he looked, Yin was startled again. Surprisingly, his body became skinnier than before, like it was only skin and bones. The clothes on him that had fit before looked ridiculously large now. Rather than calling him skinny, it was better to call him a withered mummy. Yin turned even paler. He never expected that this blood pool would not only fail to send him back to his previous world, but would make such unthinkable changes to him. Guru. His stomach began rumbling, and he suddenly felt ravenous. He thought he could almost devour an elephant. But the cave had nothing edible. He glanced at the dry blood pool and was sad to find that he could no longer return to his world. Yin decided to find a weapon. He remembered his escorts had fought one another with all kinds of weapons. However, after examining them, he found them either rusted or destroyed, not useful to him anymore. Disappointed, Yin could only leave empty-handed from the stone cave. The moist air was warm and carried with it the sound of water running in the distance. Ancient trees blocked the sun like a giant umbrella. Only a few spots of sunlight could be seen on the wetland. The dark forest. Yin recalled this place with the help of the memory of his new body once he got out of the cave. The dark forest covered a large area where the trees were too thick to let the sunlight in. The reason why it was called the dark forest was because it was damp and dark even in the daytime. The dark forest was surrounded by the Merchant Union, the Fire Empire, and the God-Blessed Empire. The Merchant Union was to the north of the forest, the God-Blessed Empire in the south, and the Fire Empire in the west. Merchants from the 3 countries had to pass through the dark forest to trade. Demon beasts always made their appearance in the dark forest, some of which even reached the 6th or 7th level. As the trade caravans, soldiers, and warriors crossed the dark forest now and then, they knew that high-level demon beasts only appear in special areas, and low-level ones were usually vagrants. In general, trade caravans wouldn't come across high-level demon beasts as long as they traveled along their usual routes. Only soldiers and warriors, who often ventured into the beast-infested areas looking for fights, would easily come face to face with high-level demon beasts and eventually suffered great losses. Great risk yields great benefits. Once a soldier killed a demon beast of the 6th or 7th level, he would immediately obtain many crystal coins. Demon beast above level 6 each had a monster core inside its body. This monster core was of great use to warriors, alchemists, and blacksmiths. Apart from the monster core, its fur, fangs, bones, flesh, and poison were all very valuable. The body of a high-grade demon beast was full of treasures. This attracted bold soldiers and warriors to venture into the dark forest. However, only a few people achieved their goals and gained some benefits. The majority of them underestimated the wisdom and strength of a demon beast and thus paid for it with their lives. Yin observed his surroundings for a while and heard the sound of water in the distance, combined with the sound of women talking. As Yin was hesitating, he noticed a slight rustling sound from the bushes not far away, as if someone was fiddling with the leaves. Yin subconsciously looked towards that direction. Through the thick bushes, he saw a slim and graceful female body. The woman took off her white belt, squatted down, and showed her peach-shaped white bottom to him. Her snow-white hand was waving off annoying mosquitoes as she was about to urinate. The woman apparently didn't notice the eyes behind her as she began to sing happily. At first, Yin was stunned. However, his eyes shamelessly scanned towards her bright fair skin, secretly admiring her enchanting ass and wondering how her face would look like. Pa! The woman suddenly slapped on her smooth, white left hip to kill a mosquito. The movement of her but captivated Yin. Soon the woman finished urinating, buckled her belt, and muttered to herself, "Damn mosquitoes." Unexpectedly, the woman turned around quickly. Her hand sent out a green arc of lightning which targeted all the surrounding mosquitoes and killed them on the spot. As she turned, Yin finally saw her delicate appearance. She looked around 20 years old with 5.5 feet in height. Her face was glowing like a bright moon and she had a slim waist, well-developed chest, and nice posture. She was wearing an exquisite lavender robe and soft silver armor which couldn't cover her fascinating figure as a legendary wild vixen. Yin focused on her hot body and thought that she was more beautiful than the most popular superstars in his world. Yin couldn't stop his eyes from wandering. Suddenly, the woman looked directly into his eyes through the huge banana leaves. The beauty's eyes flashed like lightning. Chapter 3, First Encounter. Chapter 3, First Fight. First Battle. Did you see me naked? The beauty clenched her teeth tightly, with rage in her eyes. Yes, I never miss anything in front of my eyes. Yin nodded, not even bothering to deny it. Did you enjoy it? Skin like porcelain, breasts like flowers. I'd say it was a feast for the eyes. Yin was strangely honest, without the slightest bit of shame. You want to see some more? Mo Yinyu's delicate body trembled with anger. She had never met such a shameless man. Well, if you wouldn't mind taking your pants off, and don't mind me staring at you, then yes, I would love to take a closer look. Yin smiled. Apparently, Yin didn't want to pretend to be somebody he was not. Before he came to this world, every time he finished some extreme sport, he would have to find a woman for pleasure. Extreme sports was his biggest enthusiasm, while women were the essential spices in his life. Mo Yinyu almost jumped up and down on her feet. Who the hell is this guy? What a bastard. He appeared out of nowhere like a ghost. Every word he says is shameless, and he appears to be proud of himself. In a competition for shameless bastards, he would be holding the crown. Mo Yinyu had to take a deep breath before she began to talk again. While her beautiful breasts heaved up and down, a surge of rage bloomed in her chest. Surprisingly, she laughed. Good. Very good. Hearing her say this, Yin became gleeful, and a horny smile appeared on his face. Wow, it seems you don't mind at all. Well then, please go ahead. I am really looking forward to it. Last time I didn't pay much attention, but this time I won't miss anything. Mo Yinyu was completely shocked by Yin's response. After she figured out he wasn't teasing, She couldn't control her rage anymore. Won't miss anything, my ass. Cursing, Mo Yinyu crossed her arms. Suddenly, shining green light appeared on her hands. She spread her arms, shooting a green beam as quick as lightning towards Shi Yin. Everything between them was cut into pieces as a green arc-shaped light flashed by. With an unstoppable force, the green lightning struck Shi Yan's right in the chest. Boom! Shi Yin was tossed backward on the ground. His skeleton-like weak body couldn't balance himself, and he fell hard into a bush. His chest was badly lacerated to the point where even bones were visible. Blood gushed out of his wounds. That single hit almost killed him. Following the path between the two people was clear. What appeared to them was a small path with a burning scent. Mo Yinyu moved toward Shi Yin. Her face was as cold as ice. Shi Yin finally came back to his senses. The intense pain in his chest made him realize that the girl in front of him wasn't easy to deal with. In his previous world, if he did the same thing to a girl, the worst-case scenario was the girl calling him an asshole or filing a lawsuit against him, but nothing like this. He was still new to this place and was not used to the cruel way of life here, especially in the dark forest, because this forest was not subjected to any country's jurisdiction and also contained a large variety of demon beasts as well as precious and exotic herbs. Warriors used this forest as their training ground, while mercenaries and merchants saw this place as a natural treasure trove. There were no restriction or rules in this forest. Due to the demon beasts and precious herbs, robbery and murder were common in this place. Even your companions would betray and backstab you at crucial moments. What an insane place. The law of the jungle ruled the dark forest. The strong devoured the weak. This was exactly why he got hit so hard. He let his guard down, never expecting a girl like her would attempt to kill him for such a trivial reason. Shi Yan's mind was suddenly crystal clear. The remaining profound chi inside of him gradually gathered around his wounded chest and began to heal him. With his profound chi moving around his body, the searing pain lessened. Mo Yinyu footsteps echoed through the wet ground. Shi Yin jumped up nervously, calmed his mind, and looked straight at the girl walking slowly towards him. You intended to kill me? Still breathing? Mo Yinyu frowned slightly and stopped about 25 meters in front of Shi Yin. She took a curious but careful glance at him and thought, there is profound chi inside of him. A novice warrior. I should have hit him harder. Shi Yin was serious this time, with no more teasing or jokes. He focused his attention on the girl because he knew that she'd strike again soon. He could feel his chi was more concentrated than ever. This was a matter of life and death. He couldn't afford any mistakes. Shi Yin quickly adjusted himself and returned to the cool-headed state he always maintained during his extreme sports. At that moment, he couldn't feel any pain in his chest. He could feel nothing but the weak profound chi flowing through his body and rushing through his veins. It kept getting faster and faster. The next moment, a wild surge of energy erupted from the deepest corner of his body. The feeling was mind-blowing. He felt like his brain had exploded. After that, the whole world suddenly became silent. Ba-dump, ba-dump. Shi Yin could hear his own heartbeat loud and clear. With his heartbeat racing, the cells throughout his whole body were activated. Every inch of his body became sensitive, and he could feel everything taking place around him. He could even feel the slightest tremor on his skin when a light breeze brushed against his body. The strange energy started to spread from every pore of his body, pouring into his veins and bones. It felt like endless electricity was speeding throughout his entire vascular system. After an acute pain in Shi Yan's eyes, the world in front of him became incredibly colorful and vivid. He was able to see the tiniest details on every leaf. He looked at the beautiful but cruel woman, feeling her profound chi flowing underneath her skin in a beautiful rhythm in her veins. The forest was still the same, but to his eyes, it was like a completely different world out there. Before Shi Yin could enjoy this wonderful feeling, he suddenly sensed that the profound chi inside the woman's body was flowing at twice as fast as before. Shi Yin could even feel his nerves trembling. Subconsciously, he pushed his left foot off the ground with all the force he had. With a strong power rushing out of his foot, Yin quickly moved 3 meters away from where he was standing. Another green blaze in the shape of a dagger grazed his side. The green lightning cut everything by his side with a terrifying force. This time the attack was much more precise and stronger than the previous strike. Sweat covered Yan's back. He couldn't help but get excited. Yan suddenly realized that this type of fight, which could kill within seconds, was the most exciting and thrilling thing ever. He enjoyed this more than any kind of his extreme sports. In the old world where he came from, there were all kinds of extreme sports available. However, he was bound like a prisoner in a cage of law, moral codes, and rational thinking. He couldn't do things without boundaries, he couldn't fully indulge in his passion, couldn't go beyond the boundary of law and moral codes. But here, in this world where only the powerful ruled, nothing was prohibited. Nothing was impossible. Yin suddenly felt the excitement growing inside of him. He felt this might be the right place for him. This might just be his paradise. Hey! Yin couldn't hide her surprise. She didn't expect Yin to evade this attack. She was sure that he would be torn to pieces by this strike and didn't prepare for Plan B. Hearing her voice, Yin, who was still enjoying his survival, had just now come back to his senses. Without hesitation, Yin jumped up like an agile monkey. He grabbed a vine on a tree and swung himself forward. He then grabbed another vine with lightning speed, flew forward, and reached for the next vine. In a series of smooth movements, he managed to approach Yin within seconds. When he was bouldering, the vines on the mountain were indeed a handy tool. For an extreme sports enthusiast like Yin, swinging with the support of vines was like child's play. Like a wild monkey, Yin quickly moved through the vines and trees. He didn't follow a specific pattern but still managed to approach Yin. With a scorn on her face, Yin shot more and more green light daggers into the sky, destroying every vine in the direction of Yin. However, he was able to escape her attacks by a hair's breadth every time and quickly grasp another vine. The truth was, Yin could already sense the movement of qi in Yinu's body. Everything was crystal clear to him now. When he saw a surge of profound qi underneath her skin, he would quickly move in another direction. During his movements, Yin started to feel that the blood in the pool had changed him somehow. He was not that strong before, but now, not only did the high-intensity movements not tear him apart, they made him even more sensitive and agile than ever before. His senses became sharper, and his body became stronger and more flexible. Swish! With a loud noise, a sharp green lightning flew towards him, tearing apart dozens of vines behind him. Apparently, Yinu almost exhausted her profound qi after such strong attacks. This is my chance. Yin suddenly jumped down from the trees and took Yinu in his arms like a greedy eagle. Before she could gather enough profound qi to strike back, Yin was already on top of her. Boom! Yinu fell on the ground with Yin on top of her, tightly bringing her body under his control. Face to face, Yin could feel her soft body more closely. Her plump breasts felt so delicious and fragrant. He squeezed the buns up close to his burning chest. Yin felt unspeakable pleasure, while secretly appreciating the woman's body. What a piece of art! Unlike the ordinary women from his old world who used bras to look sexy and plump. Let go of me. Yinu expressed her disgust but didn't really struggle. She cursed, if you want an easy death, fucking let go of me right now. Bitch. Yin sneered. You almost fucking killed me. Why should I let you go so easily? Yinu suddenly became nervous. Before she could do anything, she felt this creep's kiss on her beautiful and sacred face. At the same time, the bastard's hands didn't rest either. Yin was touching her ass and began to rub it in an insatiable way. Yinu flew into a rage. The martial spirit inside of her exploded with a terrifying power. Yin, who was still enjoying this wonderful feast, suddenly felt a horrible electric current flowing through her. He was instantly electrocuted as if he had been struck by a taser. Yin couldn't feel his own body anymore, nor could he gather any qi inside his body. Yinu pushed Yin away. Her eyes were cruel and icy. She glanced at Yin, who was lying on the ground for a while, and cursed again. I won't let you die that easily, you bastard. Mo Yinyu picked Shi Yin up like a feather, passing through the forest towards the crowd with a cold face. Chapter 4, Guinea Pig. Chapter 4, Guinea Pig. Tall trees formed a huge umbrella above a small river, beside which was a dragon drinking water, carrying several bags. 10 strong, tall warriors were dining and talking lewdly near the dragon. Behind the dragon, a group of malnourished men were crouching and having a coarse meal. They were all wearing chains, their eyes dim. In a sedan chair on the dragon, a poker-faced thin old man was sitting motionlessly. He was wearing a black robe embroidered with 5 white cauldrons on his chest. He kept staring at the warriors and the chained men. Every warrior was frightened and turned silent once the old man looked upon them viciously. Are you done? Then move your ass and walk. Mo Yinyu showed up from the bush with a rigid face, lifting Shi Yin up in her hand. The warriors wrapped up their unfinished meal and were embarrassed. Yeah, we're done. We're done. Mo Yinyu went up to the old man and showed an unwillingly smile. Master Karu, have you finished your meal? The old man nodded coldly and murmured, Miss Mo, it will still take 3 months to get to the merchant union. However, we have only 16 medicine slaves left. I'm afraid we won't make it. Do not worry, Master Karu. We will catch more medicine slaves for you. Mo Yinyu threw Shi Yin onto the ground and laughed. Look, a new slave. Karu nodded as he examined Shi Yin with his evil eyes. Too skinny. He won't even survive a week. He frowned. Yes, I know. But he has profound chi in him, Mo Yinyu explained. He is a warrior? Apparently Karu was now interested, and his eyes lit up. Definitely, Mo Yinyu confirmed. That is good. Master Karu smirked. He continued to focus his eyes on Shi Yin. After quite a while, he nodded slowly. Very good. Miss Mo, feed him. I want him to be strong first. A severely injured warrior cannot bear what I am going to do. It would be a total waste if he died through the course of my medicine when he is still too weak. Do not worry, Master. Mo Yinyu wore her rigid face and scolded, Johnson, what are you doing there? Shackle this man as soon as possible. Yes, ma'am. This bald, fat man appeared to be 6'6". He took out a new set of shackles from the bags on the dragon and swiftly shackled Shi Yin's hands and feet. This giant wore heavy armor, and his robust muscles looked extremely powerful. The heavy dark armor seemed as light like a feather and didn't affect him whatsoever while he was moving. Johnson, take care of him, and always keep an eye on him. Mo Yinyu glared at Shi Yin in hatred and rushed to the head of their caravan, not bothering to waste one more second on him. I can handle it, miss. I'm the best at it. The bald man chuckled cunningly and reassured her, punching his chest. Shi Yin observed silently despite his body hurting all over. He knew it would be useless to say anything at the moment. In this dog-eat-dog world, morals was the last thing one should believe in. He will receive no pity and would only become a skeleton, and if he didn't adapt to this world soon. As the profound chi flowed slowly within him for a while, Shi Yin felt less pain. However, the newly added shackles were like a mountain on his exposed and feeble body, making every step much harder. Bang! Shi Yin suddenly got lashed by a whip, which was so fast and powerful that his back was cracked open and ached badly. He turned around to see the big man Johnson smirking with a whip in his hand. Damn medicine slave. Move faster. Or do you want one more lash, huh? He laughed with an evil smirk on his face. Shi Yin gazed at him for a few seconds and didn't reply. He staggered towards the medicine slave in front of him before Johnson could lift his whip again. Every step consumed a lot of energy. After Shi Yin moved forward, Johnson's smirk disappeared and was replaced by a weird expression. Along the way, many stumbling slaves had been taken care of by Big Johnson, who was famed for his brutality. 2 slaves were even beaten to death by him before Master Karu could even test his medicine on them. All of the medicine slaves looked at him with either fear or hatred. However, this man didn't show the slightest hint of fear or hatred. There was only an incredible silence, cold and solemn. This man didn't seem to realize his status as a prisoner. Maybe he didn't clearly understand the situation. The solemn eyes gave Johnson the illusion that he was prey. This made him uncomfortable. However, since Shi Yin had begun obediently marching, Johnson couldn't find a reason to make a fuss. He swore to himself that he would force Shi Yin to be frightened of him. Big Johnson enjoyed the sight of others' frightened eyes so much. He found an interesting pleasure in being in control of the life of another. In the following days, Shi Yin stayed mute and obedient. He obeyed every order that was given by Johnson without any resistance. No change of temper, no interest in anything. Shi Yin was different from the other medicine slaves. Even Johnson, who was always waiting for a chance to give him a lesson, couldn't find any excuse to trick him. Shi Yin was unbelievably cooperative. Johnson was confused. Shi Yin only talked when he asked for food, which was under Master Karu's permission. In no time, the warriors noticed that Shi Yin had a big appetite and he enjoyed the inferior food. He ate what 7 medicine slaves ate as a first meal, and day by day, he ate more and more. The warriors couldn't believe their eyes. How could that weak, skinny body contain so much food? At the beginning, they worried that he couldn't digest it, but it soon turned out to be unnecessary. It was clear that Shi Yin had not only digested the inferior food, but also grown much stronger. The changes in Shi Yin's body pleased Master Karu significantly. This cunning old man allowed Shi Yin to eat as much as he wanted. As Shi Yin grew stronger day by day, Johnson gradually became worried. Every time he looked into Shi Yin's solemn eyes, Johnson got the premonition that Shi Yin would be a calamity in the future. But still, he couldn't go against Master Karu's order and had to supply Shi Yin with enough food. Nevertheless, Johnson knew who Master Karu was and what he could do. Thus he was relieved and hoped Master Karu would take action soon. After eating enough for 12 people, Shi Yin put down his bowl, licked the last grain of rice from the corner of his mouth, and closed his eyes, neglecting the dumbstruck medicine slaves beside him. That huge amount of food was soon digested in his body, which was like a bottomless pit. It was also like a precise machine that transformed the food into nutrition, supplying his blood, bones, tendons, muscles, and inner organs, strengthening his weak body secretly. The injury on his chest had long since recovered. It took only a day and a half and didn't leave a scar. He felt like was a different man. Only Shi Yin knew precisely what had happened to his own body in such short time. He could sense the transformations occurring within himself every second. While the nutrition from the food strengthened his body, the weak, profound chi inside him had also risen by a level during its continuous circulation. Shi Yin could feel a great strength now, and the heavy shackles didn't weigh him down anymore. As he concentrated, he could tell the chi was flowing from his dantian, up to the governor vessel, down the reception vessel, and then balancing the water and fire in the heart and kidney. After it completed a small circulation, his profound chi grew stronger. Thanks to a little knowledge of qigong, Shi Yin knew the difference between a small circulation and a big circulation. A small circulation only included the governor and the reception vessels, while a big circulation contained the 12 channels and the other 6 vessels. Since there were only 2 vessels, the governor and the reception vessels, which were open among his 12 channels and 8 vessels, he could only complete a small circulation. From the other Shi Yin's memory, he concluded that only warriors of the elementary level could open all the channels and vessels to conduct a big circulation. Shi Yin carried on, for he believed that as long as the profound chi residing in him was strong enough, he would open his channels and vessels sooner or later. One more death. 2 slaves have died from the medicinal trials in just 6 days. I saw that. That guy had already grown weak before he died. Terrible. Hideous. It's better to commit suicide than die that way. We will die that way too. There is no hope in sight. No suicide. No. Our family won't get a single blue crystal coin if we commit suicide. Alas. Endure it. We will be free if we survive half a year and get some money. We must endure until we make it back to our wives and kids. Hearing this, all the medicine slaves went silent. They decided not to commit suicide and made up their minds to carry on. Chapter 5. Lightning Martial Spirit. Chapter 5. Lightning Martial Spirit. Shi Yin opened his eyes, staring at the medicine slaves at a distance. Those slaves mostly came from poor families. In order to survive, they had no choice but to sign the contract with Imo, selling themselves as slaves. If they were lucky enough to survive the first 6 months, not only could they regain their freedom, but they would also get paid 200 purple crystal coins. If they were unlucky and died from medicinal trials, their family would receive the money instead. In the Grace mainland, 1 black crystal coin was equal to 100 purple crystal coins, which equaled 10,000 blue crystal coins. The annual income of an average citizen was merely 5 to 6 purple crystal coins. 200 purple crystal coins were almost the savings for 40 years of work in another job. Upon signing the contract, their family would receive 50 purple crystal coins on the spot, with the rest paid within the next 6 months. If something unfortunate happened, their family would be compensated regardless. It might take someone's entire life to make 200 purple crystal coins, but for the medicine claves, all it takes is 6 months of painful suffering. It was all worth it. At least that was what they thought. However, when they signed the contract, it never occurred to them that the medicinal trials would be so cruel and tormenting. Every few days, some of them would drop dead in the most horrible way. This made them so terrified that they began to make their own secret plans. But a contract was a contract. Once they signed their name on it, there was no way out. This meant, for the next 6 months, the Imo family owned their lives. Any attempt to disobey the contract or escape from the Imo family would be a death sentence. There is no such thing as a free lunch. It was already too late for them to recognize the danger of these medicinal trials. They had no choice but to accept all the pain as well as their miserable fate. Shi Yin knew that none of these slaves would make it. Sooner or later, they were going to die. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe later. He knew he was powerless to change all this. Therefore, he avoided contact with these slaves, thus avoiding any hurtful feelings when they died. Shi Yin frowned as he took a quick glimpse at Master Karu sitting in the sedan atop the ground dragon, trying his best not to be discovered. There were 5 white medicine bottles embroidered on Master Karu's chest, which meant that he was a level 5 mortality alchemist. In the Grace mainland, an alchemist was even more distinguished and rare than a warrior. Every alchemist had to be a warrior. The medicine they refined could help enhance a warrior's capability. There were special pills refined by a small number of extraordinary alchemists, which could even enhance a warrior's martial spirit. Compared to the 10 levels among warriors, the ranking of alchemists were based on their expertise in the field of medicine. There were 5 categories of alchemists in the Grace mainland: mortality, mystery, soul, royalty, and divinity. Under each category, there were 7 subranks. Every alchemist would carry a special token corresponding to his ranking. Alchemists of the mortality category would be embroidered with white medicine bottles on their chests. Mystery category, red flames. Soul category, medicinal herbs. Royalty category, wonder pills. And divinity category, medicinal cauldron. There were 5 white medicine bottles on Master Karu's chest, so it was clear that he had the expertise of a level 5 mortality alchemist. Since the medicine provided by alchemists could enhance the profound chi inside a warrior, this small group of people held a prestigious status among all warriors. Due to the low number of alchemists, every group were desperate to hire a good alchemist, which made the alchemists even more revered and exceptional. Imo was from the youngest generation of warriors born with the lightning martial spirit from the Imo family. The Mo family were working in the medicine business within the merchant union. They never stopped searching for great alchemists for their own use, no matter where these alchemists came from. However, most alchemists had quirky personalities and had weird demands. Above all, they were the haughtiest people on earth and held very high opinions of themselves. Therefore, very few of them would accept the influence of powerful families like the Imo family, and thus the Imo family had tasted more failure than success when recruiting these alchemists. Although Master Karu was merely a level 5 mortality alchemist, the Imo family had exhausted every means to convince him. Nobody knew what Mo Yinyu had offered this time in order to persuade Master Karu to leave Medicine Valley and come and work for them. However, Master Karu was not the type of person who was fond of the orthodox. He was more interested in crooked ways of applying his skills to make poisons. However, the production of the finest poisons required a huge amount of medicinal trials, and the subject must be a living, breathing human. This was why these medicine slaves existed. Let's move. With Mo Yinyu's order from the distance, the resting warriors all stood up and got ready for the march ahead. The medicine slaves resting on the roadside also quickly got up, for fear of the punishment they would face if they didn't manage to keep up. Shi Yin stood up, still and silent. He took a sniff at the woman who had the appearance of an angel, but the heart of a scorpion. He had no choice but to follow the group before him obediently. In the merchant union, the relationship between the Mo family and the Shi family was not that smooth. The fifth uncle of Mo Yinyu was killed by Shi Yang 3 years ago due to a dispute over the mining rights at a mountain. After that, the Mo family started a relentless vendetta against the Shi family, causing the death of dozens of Shi family members. With this kind of hatred rooted between these two families, there were endless conflicts and fights going on. Shi Yin understood that death would be his fate if his true identity was ever discovered. But luckily, the original owner of his body kept a low profile. He was not endowed with a martial spirit, didn't take much interest in the martial fights, and barely showed up to any martial activities organized by the merchant union. Therefore, there was no way that Mo Yinyu would ever recognize him. Otherwise, Shi Yin wouldn't have been this lucky. As night fell, the moon was like a silver plate floating in the dark sky, accompanied by several sparkling stars. The Mo family troop was camping and resting by the river. The ground dragon was resting quietly with only the sound of its heavy breathing permeating the air. The Mo family warriors were gorging themselves on dried meat and laughing aloud in a perverted way, exchanging gossip about some notorious whores in a merchant union's brothel. When Mo Yinyu was not looking, a few audacious warriors would gaze at her sexy body in secret, lusting after her body. They knew that for people of their level, Mo Yinyu was way out of their league. All they could do was fantasize. Shi Yin sat down in silence. When he was ready to circulate the profound qi inside his body, he noticed Mo Yinyu and Master Karu coming towards him from the front of the troops. Shit. Shi Yin felt that something bad was going to happen. His face suddenly looked like hell. The gut-cutting poison is way too strong for normal people. It has already killed 6 slaves within the past 2 days. I guess only warriors can sustain its influence. That boy looks better than before. With much of his profound qi recovered, he can be our new lab rat. Master Karu said with a viperous smile on his face and a bowl of some black sticky liquid in his left hand. Well, Master Karu, please, help yourself. He is all yours. Don't show any mercy. I want him to die as miserably as possible. Mo Yinyu also laughed. Haha, no problem. Miss Mo, your wish is my command. I promise you that there is no way he will die easy. As you have seen in the previous trials of the gut-cutting poison, all the slaves died with their flesh and skin slowly decaying off their bones bit by bit. This boy looks tough. The stronger the subject is, the longer and more painful this decaying process will be. Just wait for the grand show and enjoy. Master Karu burst into wild laughter, as if Shi Yin were not standing right in front of him. That is perfect. Mo Yinyu smiled in consent. Her eyes were obviously shining with excitement, her hatred of Shi Yin churning in her gut. It was only a matter of time before the two of them finally arrived in front of Shi Yin. Master Karu didn't even bother to explain. He handed the bowl of black sticky liquid to Shi Yin and ordered with a cold voice, "You, finish this." While Mo Yinyu took out her left hand, generating a snake of electric power circling around her fingers, her skin like porcelain and the electric power sparking like lightning. This was the perfect combination of the lightning martial spirit and profound qi. The energy was like a catalyst in the air with sound of small explosions all around. Woohoo! Johnson sneered from behind. Boy, if you ever dare to resist, you know what's going to happen to you, right? Master Karu couldn't contain his excitement. He clapped his hands and shouted, "Hey boy, the gut-cutting medicine is lots of fun. You are going to decay from the inside, little by little." The whole time, Mo Yinyu was staring at Shi Yin with an icy expression on her face. She assumed that he would say no. Her plan was, as soon as Shi Yin showed any disobedience, she would kick his ass with the electric sparks on her fingers, showing him who was the boss here. For days, every time she looked back on the humiliation she received from this man, she couldn't help but rage inside. Even her fiancé wouldn't dare to do that to her. Who the hell was this guy? How dare he? She would never forgive this guy. Sure, I'll do it, Shi Yin said dismissively. He took the bowl of nasty medicine and drank up with no hesitation. Purple crystal coins. Money in the Grace mainland. The Mo family, one of the biggest and most powerful families in the Grace mainland, famous for their lightning martial spirits. Mortality, mystery, soul, royalty, and divinity. 5 categories of alchemists. Chapter 6, Immortal Martial Spirit. Chapter 6, Immortal Martial Spirit. As the gut-cutting poison went down into his stomach, Shi Yin could feel a dull pain spreading inside. Then his gut and stomach was corroded little by little, as if he drank sulfuric acid, and the pain inside his body gradually grew stronger. This gut-cutting poison is potent. It doesn't show its effects all at once, but releases its power gradually. A normal person will be corroded by it in 2 to 3 days, and they will die with a decayed body. Karu narrowed his eyes and added, "No hurry. Let's wait for a day and see." "Good. We will check on him at this time tomorrow night." Mo Yinyu nodded. She glanced at Shi Yin in satisfaction and left with Karu happily. "Hee, fellow, your good days have come to an end." Johnson laughed loudly, showing his teeth. He suddenly felt quite relaxed when he thought that Shi Yin would die in no time, and a heavy burden dropped from his heart. Shi Yin lowered his head with an icy glint in his eyes. The gut-cutting poison began to take effect in his stomach and gut, which Shi Yin could sense clearly. It felt like tens of millions of ants were nibbling at his stomach and gut in order to compete for territory. The profound qi in the lower part of his belly circulated quickly into the gut and stomach. It was like a gentle stream quietly washing away the drug under Shi Yin's control. Wherever the profound qi went, it made the drug effects milder, thus Shi Yin became a little relieved. As a moist breeze blew softly, Shi Yin took a large, deep breath. He sat down where he was, not paying any attention to Johnson beside him, and concentrated his mind to guide the profound qi to fight against the drug. The profound qi, which had been growing much stronger recently, became Shi Yin's lifesaver. It kept moving in his stomach and guts. Every time it made a circle, the effects of the drug was softened a little, and his body was not corroded any faster. At that moment, Shi Yin realized what benefits profound qi could bring, and was determined to train hard to be a top warrior with strong profound qi. If profound qi could bring such great benefits, how much more powerful would a God-blessed martial spirit be? If I could possess martial spirit, I could definitely be much stronger and would feel less pain. For a moment, Shi Yin regretted that the owner of his body didn't inherit the petrification martial spirit of the Shi family, or he could have plucked up his courage and fought against Mo Yinyu. Maybe he could have won against her lightning with petrification and escaped without being made into a guinea pig. Time passed by and soon it was late at night, the moonlight bathing the land in its silver light. The warriors became quiet since it was an exhausting day of marching. They found a comfortable place and sat down respectively, training their profound qi in order to break through the limits of their bodies and entering higher levels and gaining stronger power. The medicine slaves looked up at the dark sky one by one. In the silent night, they tended to become homesick and scared. They would be filled with hopelessness whenever they thought about the fact that they could be a dead body the following day after the next medicinal trial. Under the pale moonlight, Shi Yin sat cross-legged on the ground, a dignified expression appearing on his serene face. After 5 hours of circulation, the profound qi had prevented the gut-cutting medicine from rapidly diffusing. Nonetheless, unknowingly, he realized that his profound qi had been consumed by 1/3 and was continuously being depleted. But the gut-cutting poison didn't seem to fade. On the contrary, it was still quite potent. The gut-cutting medicine was waiting for the profound qi to run up and it could fight back. Shi Yin suddenly felt a severe cold shiver all over his body. Once his profound qi had dried up, he would have nothing to protect himself with. Then, like most commoners, his body would start decaying from the inside out. He couldn't do anything about it. He could do nothing. But in this situation, he couldn't gain more profound qi by training. Once he took away the profound qi in his stomach and gut, the gut-cutting poison would gain strength and made him die faster. Thus he could do nothing but wait for it to happen, even if it meant death. 2 more hours passed by. The effects of the gut-cutting poison didn't weaken, but increased continuously. He could clearly feel his profound qi was depleting faster and faster. He felt that he was getting closer to death's door. Once his profound qi ran out, his insides would corrode, but he wouldn't die quickly. The corrosion would spread throughout his body, and in 5 or 6 days, he would decay and die, just like every other medicine slave. Shi Yin was unyielding. With a cold glare, he stared at Mo Yinyu, who was sitting on an old tree far away. Under the bright moonlight, Mo Yinyu sat upright on a thick tree with a serene face. Her skin was like frost, while her long hair swayed with the wind. A spirit in the dark night. She didn't notice Shi Yan's cold eyes as she was wholehearted training and nourishing the vessel which contained her lightning martial spirit with profound qi. Master Karu was at the end of the troops. He stood against another ancient tree and was carefully reading a book about poison in his right hand, his left hand in his cuff. Now and then, he looked in the direction of Shi Yin with a slippery smirk in the corner of his mouth. I can't let it go like this, Shi Yin thought with knitted brows. He operated the profound qi and at the same time pondered on the ways to solve his dilemma. If it went on like this, his profound qi would dry up before dawn and he would die without any doubt. He couldn't change anything even if he ran away, for the drug was in his body. The only solution was Master Karu. He invented the gut-cutting poison. Thus he must have the cure for it. He could change his destiny of a decaying death only by getting that cure from Master Karu. Yet Master Karu was not only an alchemist, but also a warrior of the nascent realm. It was suicide if he tried to grab the cure from him. Shi Yin observed him for a while. He found that although Master Karu was reading, he was also looking in his direction every now and then. Apparently, he was not against taking precautions. He might have even figured out what Shi Yin would do and was waiting for him to take action. Several ideas flashed through his mind. Shi Yin knew that there was almost no possibility that he could succeed. Yet he had to turn to Master Karu and take action soon, because it would become impossible to survive if his profound qi ran out. Shi Yin adjusted his breath secretly, and despite the poison in the stomach, he drew the profound qi back and prepared to fight. As expected, the gut-cutting poison became stronger and spread faster after the profound qi was drawn back. He was attacked by a wave of agony throughout his body. Just as Shi Yin was about to attack, he felt a sudden change in the corroded part of his gut. The cells there came back to life. A weak power wove through the corroded areas as if an invisible hand was sewing up his gut and stomach. Shi Yin was stunned. Although he was fully prepared, he didn't rush out irrationally. He quickly calmed down and concentrated on observing the changes inside of his body. His cells were full of life, while the rotten flesh twitched slightly and recovered gradually. After half an hour, the rotten parts had recovered and the pain had disappeared. A bolt flashed through Shi Yan's body and he was ecstatic in his heart. However, his face still looked as calm as a lake, as if he was deep asleep. Every ability that could operate without profound qi must be a special martial spirit. The description of a martial spirit dawned on Shi Yin at that time. Pondering on it for a while, Shi Yin was assured that it was a special martial spirit that brought about the changes to his body. Self-recovery of the body is a special ability, which hadn't been discovered by people. The gut-cutting poison took effect again. Without profound qi as his defense, Shi Yan's insides started to rot again. But magically, it happened again. With his cells full of life, the rotten part recovered in a short period of time. The effect of the drug broke out continuously and corroded his insides many times. But every time, The self-recovery martial spirit activated and cured it before next round of corrosion. A martial spirit increased in strength as the level of the warrior increased, and sometimes it might undergo a special change. The higher the level of a warrior, the stronger the abilities their martial spirit showed. Another definition of a martial spirit appeared in his mind. Shi Yin was overjoyed. According to the ability of the self-recovery martial spirit, his self-recovery ability would increase as his level increased. Maybe when he reaches the sky and spirit realm, he could even cure broken limbs with the self-recovery martial spirit. If he could do that, maybe he could recover from a stab to the heart and survive. If that happened, once he reached the true God realm, maybe he would be immortal. A lot of ideas crossed his mind. After careful thinking, Shi Yin named this martial spirit the Immortal Martial Spirit. After observing for a while, he was certain the Immortal Martial Spirit could block the gut-cutting poison. Shi Yin set his mind at ease and paused his plan of getting the cure from Master Karu. He sat where he was and began to recover his profound qi, regardless of the battle in his gut and stomach. Chapter 7. The Second Sky. Chapter 7. The Second Sky. The next morning before the sun rose, with a layer of fog still around, the troops had already gotten ready for the path ahead. Shi Yin was mingling among the medicine slaves, maintaining a calm expression and behaving as normal. As usual, he marched in silence with the troop. Johnson was very surprised to see Shi Yin so calm and peaceful. He was wondering when Shi Yin was going to go belly up like the other medicine slaves before him. In the past few days, every single one of those medicine slaves who took the gut-cutting poison would wake up with a pale face and a weak body the next morning, with no exception. For the weak ones, they could barely walk. For the strong ones, you could clearly see the pain and terror on their faces. However, Shi Yin was still walking. His face looked healthy with a rosy color in his cheeks. He didn't look like he was in pain at all, which made Johnson very confused and curious. Johnson stared at Shi Yin for a while. After he made sure that Shi Yin was indeed healthy, Johnson came to the front of the marching troops with a frown. He reported Shi Yin's strange status to Imo Yinyu and Master Karu. Don't panic. Master Karu was very confident of his medicine. That boy is a warrior. He is pretty tough and not that easy to break down. Just wait till the profound qi inside him is depleted. He will be no different from those slaves. I know my gut-cutting poison very well. Okay, you go back there and keep an eye on him, Imo Yinyu said with an expressionless face. Since the two of them were so calm about this news, Johnson had no choice but to obey. He didn't insist anymore. He went back to the back of the troop and continued to monitor every movement of Shi Yin closely as he was told. Master Karu, how long should it take for that bastard to start suffering? After Johnson left, Imo Yinyu started to look worried. The result she was expecting is for Shi Yin to start dying from hellish pain now. The more suffering Shi Yin felt, the more pleasure she would be able to enjoy. Don't worry. It is about time. After the end of the day, the moon replaced the sun and rose in the sky. After the troop had settled, Master Karu and Imo Yinyu overwalked to Shi Yin together. They saw Shi Yin sitting on the ground, stuffing himself with some scraps of food. Master Karu, that guy doesn't look quite, Imo Yinyu said in hesitation. The way Shi Yin was engorging himself in his food was not that decent, but he didn't look to be in pain at all. Master Karu was apparently offended. What? Are you questioning my skills as an alchemist? No. Imo Yinyu said, the power of the gut-cutting poison has already been proven on other medicine slaves. I was just wondering why this guy could survive. Did you forget any ingredients in his dose? Miss Imo, although I am not a top alchemist, I couldn't have made such a ridiculous mistake. Master Karu was apparently offended. He said, if you don't believe in my ability, I can leave right now? Master Karu, please don't. That's not what I meant. I was just wondering why the medicine did not work on him. I didn't mean anything else. Imo Yinyu looked panicked. Master Karu didn't even bother to reply. He rose up from the ground and flew right towards Shi Yin as fast as lightning. Shi Yin kept his head down and pretended he wasn't paying attention. However, Deep down, he was surprised at the speed Master Karoo was moving. He felt lucky that he didn't try to fight against him yesterday. Otherwise, he would have definitely suffered. Apart from being an alchemist, Master Karoo was also a warrior of the nascent realm. However, Shi Yin was just a warrior of the elementary realm, who only made it to the second sky and could barely operate the profound chi inside his body. There was a huge difference between the two of them, and there was no chance Shi Yin would survive a fight with Master Karoo. If he ever fought back, he would be asking for death. Whoosh! With a strange sound in the sky, it only took seconds before Master Karoo arrived in front of Shi Yin. Shi Yin put down the food in his hands and looked up at Master Karoo. Master Karoo had a skinny, stone-cold face. He suddenly grabbed Shi Yin's left arm with lightning speed, put his fingers on Shi Yin's skin, and quickly inserted his electric-type profound chi into his veins. His profound chi flowed into Shi Yin's body, circled around his entire system, and returned to Master Karoo's fingers. The profound chi of Master Karoo was so strong that Shi Yin felt a little overwhelmed with just the circulation of his profound chi, with all his veins aching and burning. Master Karoo frowned with doubt. He said in a low voice, "It cannot be. The gut-cutting poison is apparently still inside his body. Why is there still profound chi remaining in his body? His gut is not corroded either. He is just a low-level warrior. He cannot have such fine profound chi. He shouldn't be breathing right now." Shi Yin just let him grab his arm and didn't fight back. "Master Karoo, how does he look?" Mo Yinyu also arrived. "Just wait for one more day," Master Karoo said with a cold look. He couldn't figure out what was going on either because he had never considered a martial spirit. For an ordinary warrior like him, there's no way he could possess a martial spirit. Moreover, Master Karoo had never heard of any martial spirit that could heal one's body. Although Mo Yinyu also had a million questions, she had no choice but to nod in agreement. She didn't say anything, but stared at Shi Yin for a while with a strange look. Shi Yin guessed that she was planning something awful for him again. The next night, Master Karoo and Mo Yinyu came over to check Shi Yin's body again. They found that Shi Yin was still fine, no decay, everything was healthy. Master Karoo looked more embarrassed than yesterday and told Mo Yinyu to wait for one more day. The next night, when the two of them checked again, still nothing. On the fourth night, Master Karoo came again. This time, he had 2 bowls of gut-cutting poison in his hands. When he arrived, he ordered Johnson to bring another medicine slave called Kuro over to Shi Yin. He commanded the two of them to finish the 2 bowls of gut-cutting poison that he had just made. Again, Shi Yin drank it obediently. "I made these 2 bowls of gut-cutting poison with the same ingredients," Master Karoo added after the two of them had finished their bowl of gut-cutting poison. Mo Yinyu said with agreement, "If that Kuro's body starts to corrode, it means there's something wrong with this guy's body. I understand you now." "Yes, exactly," Master Karoo nodded. "Just come over again tomorrow night at the same time, and then we will see." At night, Shi Yin sat on the ground, slowly operating the profound chi inside his body with a heavy look on his face. The profound chi was slowly stretching in his body. It became longer and gradually expanded throughout his veins. With a thought, the profound chi gradually became extremely flexible, flowing from one vein to another. As long as he was giving it a command in his mind, the profound chi would move all around his veins, just like a snake. Gradually, the profound chi moved to the index finger of his right hand through the veins in his arm. Shi Yin concentrated and moved the profound chi back into his veins in the arm. Suddenly, his profound chi speed up and rushed towards his right index finger with an unstoppable force, faster and faster. Shoo! There was a strange sound on the tip of his right index finger. With an intense pain, the profound chi forced itself into his index finger. Shi Yin's finger couldn't help trembling just like the tail of a rattlesnake. The profound chi was now concentrated in his index finger, expanding and pushing around, but couldn't break through the skin on the outside. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't manage to make the profound chi break the skin and leave his body. Shi Yin breathed heavily and gathered his profound chi back into his abdomen, looking pretty disappointed. "I failed again. he said in a very low voice to himself. There were 3 stages to the elementary realm. If you could cultivate profound chi, you would have reached the first sky. If you were able to operate your profound chi skillfully and make it circulate through your body with your mind, you would have reached the second sky. If you managed to make your profound chi break out of your skin and into the air, that was the third sky. Now that Shi Yin was able to operate his profound chi skillfully all over his body, he had reached the second sky. In past few days, he had been collecting and concentrating more and more profound chi, trying to force it out of his fingers, hoping to reach the third sky. He had tried many times. However, so far he failed to break the boundary of his skin. It seems that the training of a warrior cannot be achieved overnight. My profound chi is still not strong enough. Maybe I should try again later after I collect and refine more profound chi. After another failure, Shi Yin couldn't help but sigh. Maybe it's due to his dangerous situation. He seemed a little hasty. He knew that by this time tomorrow, his body would still be the same, unaffected by the gut-cutting poison. However, that slave called Kuro wouldn't be this lucky. His gut would have already been decayed together with his other organs. As soon as Master Karu saw this, he would instantly figure out that there's nothing wrong with his poison, but the problem was lying inside Shi Yan's body. He would know that Shi Yan's body was different from the others, and this is exactly where the trouble would begin. There wouldn't be easy life for him from then on. Probably Mo Yinyu would just kill him in case he created some new problems in the future. He wouldn't even wait until tomorrow morning. If Kuro started to show symptoms tomorrow morning, Shi Yan's secret would have been discovered instantly. By that time, all the warriors would have been up and would all be paying attention to him. He would have no chance to escape. Looking at the night sky full of bright stars, Shi Yan's face became more serious and determined. He knew that if he ever wanted to survive, he must escape tonight. Elementary Realm, the first level of warriors, includes 3 stages: first sky, second sky, and third sky. Chapter 8, The Jade Blade Spider. Chapter 8, The Jade Blade Spider. The moon was like a silver plate hanging on the night sky. The warriors were all training quietly. Mo Yinyu hid herself amongst the foliage of a huge, ancient tree, taking long breaths. Master Karu stood against another tree, reading a volume of his poison encyclopedia joyfully. Medicine slaves were lying disorderly on the wet ground behind the ground dragon. Shi Yin woke up from training and observed his surroundings quietly in a calculatingly manner. Mo Yinyu was at the head of the troops while Master Karu at the rear. The two seemed to not care about Shi Yin, however their position gave them away. Apparently they were both on guard against Shi Yin, who was in the center of the troops. Johnson seemed to know that Shi Yin would make his move tonight, so he didn't train. Instead he focused on Shi Yin, who was 10 meters away. Once Shi Yin made a move, he would notice it and stop him. Too bad, Shi Yin thought to himself. He waited for them to let their guard down. As time passed, the bright moon disappeared. Dawn was about to arrive. However, Shi Yin hadn't gotten a chance to escape yet, so he was a little anxious. After a moment's hesitation, he decided not to wait and was about to take action. Kaka, kakaka. At that moment, a strange sound came from afar. Something was heading in this direction slowly. As the profound chi flew forth and back in his arms, Shi Yan's eyes suddenly shone with excitement. Everyone on alert, Mo Yinyu shouted when she lifted herself up from the ancient tree. Staying in a high position, she looked into the distance for a while, then screamed, "A jade blade spider!" All the warriors woke up from their training process. The warriors were all wearing a rigid face. Before Mo Yinyu uttered anything, they took out their weapons and crowded around the ground dragon in a circle, 5 or 6 meters away from each other. Master Karu packed the book away and frowned. He walked up to the ground dragon and ordered in a low voice, "Keep an eye on the medicine bottles on the dragon." "Yes, Master Karu." The warriors responded in unison. The medicine slaves woke up one by one. Hearing a jade blade spider was nearing, they were all frightened and ran to the ground dragon. Apparently, they all knew how cruel a jade blade spider was. Jingle. A bunch of keys flew out from Mo Yinyu's hand to land under Johnson's foot. "Johnson, Open the shackles on them, or they will be killed by the spider. Hurry up, Imo Yinyu urged. Johnson picked up the keys and looked up at Imo Yinyu, then pointed to Shi Yin, including him. Yeah, I don't want him to die easily. Imo Yinyu showed no patience on her face. Kid, be well behaved. I will keep an eye on you. Johnson snorted. He released the shackles on Shi Yin first, then walked over to the rest slaves and freed them one after another. Thank God. As the shackles were released, Shi Yin felt extremely relaxed and smirked in his mind. The Shi family was an aristocratic family with a martial spirit. Although the owner of this body wasn't a warrior, he loved adventures and searching for historic remains immensely. He was also familiar with all sorts of demon beasts. So when Imo Yinyu mentioned the Jade Blade Spider, Shi Yin was extremely happy as he knew his chance to escape was coming. The Jade Blade Spider was a level 2 demon beast whose 8 legs were as sharp as knives. They liked to wander at night and always appeared in groups of 5 or 6. The spiders were cruel and loved eating humans. Once they came across humans in the dark forest, they would never spare them. Demon beasts were always much larger than humans. They had thick, coarse skin and could move faster than humans. Commoners would either die or be injured whenever they met one. Only skilled warriors could escape. Although the Jade Blade Spiders were a mere level 2 demon beast, they made their appearance in groups of 5 or 6, and normal warriors couldn't move faster than them, thus it was hard to compete with them. To meet Jade Blade Spiders in the dark forest was a bad situation for anyone, as there was nothing valuable on its body and they were aggressive and moved like the wind. They would start attacking as soon as they saw a human and would never leave without getting something, even ignoring their injuries. Shi Yin approached the ground dragon quietly and stood by the panicking medicine slaves and started to observe what was happening, not in a hurry to escape. Shit, 8 of them. Imo Yinyu cried from the tree, frowning with a rigid face. It will be a nasty fight. Get ready. Remember, do not pursue an attack. The spiders will have the advantage if we retreat into the thickets. Do not fight in the there. Kakaka, kaka. The sound of a knife cutting the earth approached. Soon, they saw 2 Jade Blade Spiders who were 10 meters long and 5 meters tall. The whole body of the spider was snow white and as large as a bus, with 8 legs like daggers, bright and sharp. The spiders moved their dagger-like legs and advanced in extremely quickly and nimbly. They arrived in an instant. Their legs reflected an icy light while moving and easily scared everyone. It was not hard to imagine what tragedy would happen once one was cut by those legs. Seeing the spiders show up one by one, the warriors were all silent. Imo Yinyu had jumped down from the tree minutes ago. She was standing in the front of the troops, getting ready by intertwining her fingers with radiant lightning. Master Karu sat relaxed in the sedan atop the ground dragon with indifferent eyes, not showing any indication of fear. Soon, all 8 spiders appeared. They were not stupid, as they separated and surrounded the ground dragon, and then shooting forth like 8 cars. With a harsh whistling sound, the 8 spiders started the battle at the same time. White legs were raised up into the vast sky. They flew forward at the same time, rushing towards the warriors who were around the ground dragon. At that moment, the air was filled with silver and white knives. The warriors reacted quickly. They thrust their weapons, while deflecting the spider's attack, towards the beast's waist and eyes. Everything descended into chaos. The Jade Blade Spiders surrounded the ground dragon. White legs crashed down. Warriors dodged to the left and the right and kept thrusting their weapons. Imo Yinyu broke out her martial spirit. Her hands were twined by lightning and kept radiating, which fell upon the spiders and left them trembling. Shoo! One of the warriors sustained a cut on his torso by a spider leg before he could react. His organs spilled out of him along with his desperate cry. He then fell heavily onto the ground. The medicine slaves were so frightened that they couldn't help themselves and hid beneath the ground dragon. Some slaves lost their mind. They ran in between the spider legs in order to escape, but were nailed to the ground by the spider's legs and died instantly. Shi Yin contained himself, his eyes filled with a strange light. He almost didn't move behind the warriors, the shackles ringing with clear sounds. Crack! The warrior in front of Shi Yin, who was of the second sky of the elementary realm, bumped into another warrior while moving. Before he could evade, a spider leg cut through his neck and his head was sent flying. Shi Yin was showered with his blood. Shi Yan's eyes were blurred by the blood. Suddenly, a desire of slaughter broke out in his body. The cyclones in his 720 meridians swirled madly, while a potent strength welled out of the meridians. The headless body of the warrior was spurting out blood. An air current, which could only be sensed by Shi Yin, which was filled with despair, anger, and regret, seeped into every pore on Shi Yin. It flowed along his veins until it reached all of the 720 meridians. In a trance, Shi Yin felt as if he was back at the blood pool again, where he had absorbed all that blood into his meridians as well. The blood had changed his meridians, produced cyclones, and enlarged their capacity, which accelerated the speed it could absorb the blood. This time, the wisps of air, combined with the despair and hatred of the dead warrior, entered into his body the same way, from the veins to the meridians, in a very rapid speed. The cyclones in his meridians spun hard, as if digesting the air currents. Too nefarious. In 10 or so seconds, the air current stopped entering his body. The dead body of the warrior had dried up, as if the blood and profound qi were all sucked out of it, like a dry mummy. The desire to slaughter emerged in Shi Yan's heart. When the 720 meridians spun in his body, the power of despair, fear, and cruelty multiplied as well, which urged Shi Yin to begin a massacre. Swish! A spider leg flew towards Shi Yan's head. Surprised, Shi Yin controlled his urge to kill and moved behind another warrior to escape the strike. Qi! That warrior was blocked by the spider. When he thrust his weapon into the spider's eye with all of his strength, the blind spider went insane and brandished its leg, cutting into the warrior's waist. The warrior was cut into 2 pieces and died quickly. After moving near the warrior, when Shi Yin was just about to find a safe zone, things changed again. The absorption power of his meridians erupted again. The air currents of rage and regret from the 2 pieces of the warrior's body insanely rushed into his vein and meridians. In an instant, that warrior became mummified too. Shi Yin was dumbstruck. Without a second thought, he assumed that there was another martial spirit hidden in his body. This martial spirit was based on his meridians and was able to absorb a dead body's power. Shi Yin was frightened by this evil martial spirit. Just then, a jade blade spider let out a strange whistle, and the remaining 6 spiders flew back into the thick forest quickly. Apparently, they had noticed that it would be hard to fight with this troop. After 2 of them died, they finally withdrew. Shi Yan's face turned cold. He stopped thinking about that weird martial spirit at once and moved all of his profound qi into his feet. He dashed out with those jade blade spiders as fast as a whirlwind. He could only run away among the spiders. Suddenly, a warm stream welled out of the meridians and into the profound qi inside Shi Yin. His thin qi was twice strong as before. Shi Yin thus gained more confidence and went into a state of ecstasy. He looked back to Imo Yinyu afar, running along with the spiders. He said coldly, "Imo Yinyu, wait and see. I will fuck you one day. Catch him." Imo Yinyu's slim body trembled, her eyes on fire, as she chased after Shi Yin. Master Karu was even faster. The vicious alchemist kept quiet on the ground dragon as if waiting for something. When Shi Yin ran away with the spiders, he jumped up and flew high after Shi Yin like an eagle. "Kid, I've waited for so long." Master Karu smirked in an evil voice while he was still up in the sky. Chapter 9. The Escape. Chapter 9. The Escape. As soon as Master Karu touched the ground, he accelerated like a flash of lightning towards Shi Yin with terrifying speed. The power and strength of a nascent realm warrior was far beyond that of an ordinary elementary realm warrior. Imo Yinyu also chased after him with a killing intent in her beautiful eyes, leaving her own troops behind. She swore to catch Shi Yin and kill him as soon as she got her hands on him. Shi Yan's face turned serious. He concentrated all the profound qi inside his body into the veins in his legs. Every time he took a step on the hard ground, his skinny body would fly forward for 7 or 8 meters. Soon he was closing in on the giant jade blade spiders. Caw, caw, caw. The jade blade spiders were moving in the wetland with all their 8 legs plugged into the mud. Soon they disappeared into the thicket. Yin followed them into the thick bushes which were 5 to 6 meters tall. His face was getting more and more nervous. He already forgot how terrifying the jade blade spiders were and kept staring at one of the spiders at front. Once they got into the bushes, the jade blade spiders suddenly slowed down. 2 jade blade spiders suddenly turned around with a strange light in their eyes. They seemed to be annoyed at being chased all the way into the bushes. The jade blade spiders didn't know Yan's intention. Being chased by 3 humans, they probably thought that they wanted to fight. One of the jade blade spiders screamed with a strangely sharp sound. Suddenly, the 4 other jade blade spiders all turned around and looked straight at Yin. Yin still remained calm. He didn't slow down at all, but streaked towards the jade blade spiders with a much higher speed. Yin was more focused than ever. His mind became as clear as a mirror. Suddenly, he had entered that marvelous stage again. Everything around him became so clear to him. He could even hear the low-frequency communication among the jade blade spiders, as well as the fast movements of Master Karu behind him. He couldn't miss anything. Who? With Yan's fast movements, the air around him was split in half, and he soon generated a strong wind around him. He could hear the sound of air flow louder and louder next to his ears. Just as Yin had almost run into those jade blade spiders, he suddenly changed direction in the air and flew past one of the jade blade spiders by a millimeter. It was so close that he almost got nicked by the spider's blade-like legs. Yin soon passed by the group of jade blade spiders and continued running forward with no hesitation. The jade blade spiders were seriously provoked and irritated. The 6 jade blade spiders felt like they were fooled by this man in front of them. They had never felt so humiliated. With a sharp scream, the 6 spiders started racing towards Yin. Master Karu and Yin ran into the bushes one after another, but they had lost track of Yin and only saw the 6 raging jade blade spiders. Master Karu suddenly stopped chasing and said with an icy light in his eyes, "That boy must have hidden somewhere in these bushes. Maybe he has run through the flock of jade blade spiders and is ahead of them right now." Yin asked with a frown and some uncertainty in her voice. Master Karu sniffed. Even if he is bold enough, he couldn't have survived the jade blade spiders. The 8 spider legs are like meat grinders. This place is the proprietary land of the jade blade spiders. If he did become the target of those spiders, he would have already been killed without a doubt. Yeah, that makes sense. Yin agreed with Master Karu. The 2 of them then split up and started to search the bushes for traces of Yin. On the other side, Yin was crazily looking for his way out of the bushes in this dark forest. He was running as fast as he could, but so were those 6 jade blade spiders behind him. Soon the spiders were closing in on him. In this part of the dark forest, there were no tall trees, nothing but low bushes which seemed to be continue on forever. Yin couldn't see the end of them. The bushes were not that strong, and were easily destroyed simply by a scratch of the spider's legs. Therefore, Yin couldn't find a tree to hide or rest. All he could do was to keep running like hell. He really hoped he could get rid of those jade blade spiders behind him. Luckily for him, there was a magical energy spilling out from his meridians which flowed into his veins and mixed with his profound chi. His profound chi was therefore much stronger and more concentrated than ever. Otherwise, he couldn't have possibly kept up this pace for so long, and probably would have been slaughtered by those fearsome jade blade spiders and their sharp legs. With the strong movements of the profound chi inside the veins in his legs, Yin felt like they were full of power. Every time he stepped hard on the ground, he would fly up as light as a feather and flew several meters forward. Yin couldn't help admiring the amazing power of profound chi and was more and more determined to become a great warrior. Yin couldn't remember how long he had been running for his life, but now he was really exhausted. After such long time running, he could feel the power of the profound chi inside his legs declining sharply, and he was not running as fast as before. As he slowed down, The Jade Blade spiders didn't. These demon beasts had one of the strongest physiques. They didn't need the support of any extra energy to rampage all over the place. Damn, those 8-legged bastards are really a pain in the ass in the dark forest. The Jade Blade spiders were drawing closer to Shi Yan and were almost upon him. Shi Yan's heart was beating like a jungle drum and his back was sweating like a waterfall. According to the situation, he knew that sooner or later he would be captured by those Jade Blade spiders. By that time, he would have already run out of profound chi and would have no way to defend himself against those giant spiders. Water. Suddenly Shi Yan could feel a moist vapor coming from his left side with his sharpened senses. Shi Yan took a deep breath and smiled with joy. He suddenly changed direction and rushed towards his left. There is water here. Shi Yan concentrated his senses and listened closely to his surroundings. Not surprisingly, only a few minutes after he changed direction, Shi Yan could hear the most wonderful sound of water flowing in the distance. Only a few minutes later, a new landscape spread out in front of Shi Yan's eyes. There was a large waterfall, with the water curtain disappearing into the deep pool like shooting stars in the galaxy. Some of the falling water sprayed onto the giant rocks on the shore, with water drops spilling and jumping all over the place like pearls and dense water vapor rising above the pool like a net. Splash! Shi Yan quickly jumped into the freezing pool like a swift arrow. He felt instantly relieved and thought that he could finally ditch those Jade Blade spiders. Splash! 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 However, the 6 giant spiders also followed him into the deep pool, one by one. They were floating above the water like boats. With their 8 giant legs moving around in the water, they swam quickly towards Shi Yan. Damn it! There was no time for Shi Yan to take a break, and he was absolutely desperate. Seeing those Jade Blade spiders approaching, he had no choice but to dive into the water and swim towards the bottom of the pool. Shi Yan kept holding his breath and dived deeper and deeper into the pool. He only dared to look up when he was already more than 7 meters under the surface. From beneath, he could clearly see the sharp legs of those 6 Jade Blade spiders. The spiders were stabbing their legs, which were as sharp as knives, into the water and chopping around. The Jade Blade spiders were not afraid of the water, and they had no difficulty floating above the surface. However, it seemed they didn't want to dive under the water. The 6 beasts were just blindly stabbing and chopping their legs into the surface, but only the surface. Seeing this, Shi Yan was quite relieved. He held his breath and waited patiently in the water. Holding his breath was one of Shi Yan's strengths. He had participated in a lot of extreme sports programs like this before and therefore had rich experience in this. With one breath, he could survive underwater for more than 10 minutes. The Jade Blade spiders didn't stay long on the water. After chopping their legs for a while with no trace of Shi Yan, the 6 giant beasts soon left the pool one after another. Only then could Shi Yan float to the surface. When he saw the 6 Jade Blade spiders still by the shore, he instantly stopped floating up and started observing those demon beasts very carefully in secret. The 6 demon beasts soon left. Only then did Shi Yan rise to the surface. He took a deep breath of the surrounding damp air and dived back to the bottom of the pool. After exhausting his breath, he would rise again to the surface near one of the giant rocks on the corner of the pool. He repeated this process over and over again, breathing, diving and rising, breathing, diving and rising. He was a little worried that those Jade Blade spiders would come back, but was more worried that Master Karoo and Mo Yinyu would find him by following the tracks of those giant beasts. Therefore, he was extra cautious, not willing to come out of the water too soon. At the bottom of the pool, Shi Yan was still holding his breath and doing his own meditation. He started to think about the strange energy he had appeared from his meridians. He remembered that when the 2 warriors died, he happened to be nearby, and it seemed that he had stolen all their profound chi through his meridians. Regardless, he definitely had gotten something valuable from those 2 warriors. When he was running from the Jade Blade spiders, he could strongly feel a strange energy spilling over from his meridians. This energy was so pure, and when it mixed with his profound chi inside his body, the energy instantly made his profound chi increase much faster, and it almost doubled in minutes. but Yin couldn't figure out why. Could it be that his meridians had absorbed the energy from those two warriors, refined this energy into a much more pure and concentrated force, and empowered Yan's own body? Chapter 10. Drag Her Down. Chapter 10. Drag Her Down. At the bottom of the pool, Yin had gradually recovered his profound chi that had been exhausted from running from those jade blade spiders. He had been secretly watching the surroundings of the pool very carefully. He wasn't sure as to whether the giant spiders would come back or whether Yinyu and Master Karu would come here. Just to be safe, he decided to stay in the pool for a little longer and would only leave when he made sure he was no longer in danger. With the profound chi flowing around his body, Yin felt this short period of resting had already recovered the majority of his profound chi. His senses had become sharper, and he could even hear the wind blowing through the grass and trees on the surface, despite the fact that he was still underwater. Before long, he saw a beautiful figure show up on the shore. She was standing by a giant rock on the shore, probing her surroundings with a cold glint in her eyes. Yin suddenly became nervous and secretly dove 3 meters deeper. He would only swim around in secret when he had made sure that Yinyu couldn't see him from the shore. Yin was moving very slowly, afraid to make any ripple on the surface of the pool. He was very focused, swimming like a fish at the bottom of the pool. He even swam to different parts of the pool, just to make sure there's no danger from different areas of the shore. After making sure that Yinyu was the only person on the shore, he secretly swam closer to the rock by which he was standing. He stayed there for a minute, looking up at the vague figure of the beautiful woman from the water. Yin hesitated for a while, but still kept moving up in the water, very slowly. "Fucking bastard! Don't let me catch you, otherwise I will make you suffer so much pain that you will beg for death." Yinyu was cursing on the shore. Her face was twisted with anger. Splash! Suddenly something rose up from the water beneath her feet. Yinyu was shocked. Before she could react, one of her beautiful legs was grabbed by something. She instantly felt stunned by a strong wave of energy, and her body weakened and fell into the pool. Boom! She felt her soft abdomen heavily punched by something, and a sharp pain was spreading to her whole body. Yinyu started to sink with a higher speed. She could barely breathe and had already swallowed a lot of water from the pool, which almost choked her tears out. When she finally came to her senses, Yinyu found herself grabbed by someone and dragged to the bottom of the pool in a brutal manner. When she could finally take a closer look, she instantly realized that she had fallen into Yan's trap due to negligence. Oh crap! Yinyu was shocked by this. She knew that she was not a good swimmer, so she wouldn't want to fight with Yan here. She was grabbing the water with both hands, trying hard to float up to the surface to plan her next step. Huh, wanna run? Try me. Yin couldn't help but snort. As soon as Yinyu was dragged into the pool, he could tell that she was not good in the water. At that moment, Yin realized that this was his best shot to get revenge for himself and humiliate Yinyu at the same time. How could he let such a great opportunity pass by? With one hand firmly grabbing Yinyu's beautiful leg, Yin kept dragging her down with all his might. His other hand kept pounding hard into her abdomen with a strong fist, determined to make her swallow some more water. Boom! With another fist on Yinyu's abdomen, Yin felt her skin, which was previously soft, suddenly became as solid as a steel. After this hit, she was not frustrated at all, but still working very hard to reach the surface of the pool. On the other side, after the hit, Yin felt an intense pain on his fist. She is using her profound chi for self-defense. Yin instantly realized that Yinyu had started her own defense. Seeing her flailing in the water with both hands, getting closer and closer to the surface, Yin suddenly came up with 1,000 ideas. In 3 seconds, Yin had come up with a new plan. Yinyu was still trying her best to reach the surface of the pool. Noticing that Yin had stopped punching her in the abdomen, she got a little too proud of herself, assuming that Yin had exhausted his means. However, not long after that smile appeared on her face, Yinyu suddenly turned very pale in panic with a terrible look on her face. With one hand still grabbing her leg like a clamp, Yin started to shamelessly harass her ass and the part between her thighs. This is the most precious and sensitive part of her body. She had not allowed any man to touch or violate it. But now this man in front of her was insatiably groping her thighs as if she were his bitch. Yinyu felt so ashamed, she almost couldn't breathe. Just when she was about to burst into rage and fight with Yin, Yinyu found that the silk pants she had been wearing had been stripped down by Yin. He had even torn down her little panties and left her entire lower body exposed in front of Yin's eyes. She had never shown any man this secret part of her body. However, this man had successfully humiliated her in such an outrageous way. Yinyu's mind suddenly went blank. Suddenly, she could feel a big finger forcing its way into her body, and it felt like she was being struck by a bolt of lightning. With a thread of electricity flowing through her body, she instantly went numb in her lower body. There was a warm wave of energy making its way out of her body. Yin also felt shocked, but it didn't feel as good as he thought. He was actually hit by the lightning that came out of Yinyu's body. It seemed that her body would defend herself by discharging a jolt of electricity shock when violated. This lightning had struck him pretty hard, and he suddenly couldn't feel his hands. All of a sudden, Yin had lost his power. At the moment, Yinyu suddenly felt herself much lighter in the water. She realized that Yin had released her. She suddenly regained her senses. Forcing her way through the water with all her might, Yinyu finally rose up to the surface of the pool, filled with grief and indignation. On the other hand, Yin was still floating in the water, feasting his eyes on the million-dollar view above his head. He could clearly see the two sexy legs of Yinyu moving around on the pool surface, her ass which had such a nice curve, as well as the delicious parts between her thighs which were apparently his favorite. However, he was affected pretty heavily and couldn't feel any strength right now. He couldn't do anything but let Yinyu keep swimming towards a big rock on the shore of the pool. Before long, Yinyu had arrived at the rock. She grabbed the rock with one hand and screamed with a raging fire burning in her vicious eyes, "You fucking animal! Come out!" Having lost her pants, Yinyu couldn't get out of the pool and still needed to hide her lower body in the water. She couldn't do anything but scream like hell. Her hatred was burning and lightning was dancing around her fingers. She would pay any price to burn Yin into a crisp. After slowly operating his profound chi inside his body for a while, Yin felt his discomfort had been mostly alleviated, and he had recovered his strength. Still hiding in the water, Yin stared at Yinyu by the big rock on the shore for a while with a greedy look. He couldn't help licking his lips and fantasizing about the woman's body. Although she had a heart as dark as a scorpion, she had the most attractive look to any man, 1 in a million. He couldn't get enough of her. Now that Yinyu had already set up her defense, Yin knew that it was impossible for him to drag her down into the water again. This woman had achieved the nascent realm for warriors and possessed the scary lightning martial spirit. If she was already on alert, there's no way that he could strike again. If Yinyu kept screaming and shouting like this, it wouldn't be long before Master Karu and the other warriors from the family found the two of them. If he didn't get away now, he probably wouldn't get another chance later. Having thought about this, Yin didn't hesitate at all. He quickly swam from one side of the pool to the other, away from Yinyu, and got up onto the shore. He kept his little brother pretty aroused, teasing Yinyu across the pool with a proud smile on his face and a big bulge in his pants. Back then, just what the heck was that stuff coming out of your pussy? It was pretty warm and sweet. You must have enjoyed me back there. With her lower body still naked in the water, Yinyu didn't dare to come onto the shore. Hearing him saying this, Yinyu's body felt like it was hit by a lightning bolt. She screamed like crazy, "I'm gonna kill you. You bastard. I am so killing you. I swear. I will cut you into pieces." Yin replied with a snort on his face, "Bitch, I've already tasted your pussy. How are you gonna get married? Kill me? Huh. Next time, you won't be this lucky with only my finger inside of your body." After saying that, he shook his little brother in an exaggerated manner in front of Yinyu's eyes, putting on a teasing smile and left before she could burst out with rage. Shi Yin quickly disappeared into the bushes. Mo Yinyu was so angry that she could hardly breathe. She fired waves of lightning towards Shi Yin, but the lightning could barely cross the pool, degrading into little electric sparks and disappearing after a few hundred meters, to say nothing of hurting Shi Yin. Gasping heavily, Mo Yinyu could feel her hatred burning in her eyes endlessly. As much as she would like to strike back, her lower body was still naked in the water, so she wouldn't dare to make a move. After a while, after making sure that Shi Yin wouldn't come back, she swam to the middle of the pool to retrieve her pants which were floating on the surface. Miss Mo, I remember you were chasing somebody. How come you jumped into the pool to take a nice bath? Mo Yinyu heard the creepy voice of Master Karu from behind her as she finished dressing on the shore. Startled, she quickly turned around, seeing Master Karu staring at her with two horny eyes. Master Karu was like a starving wolf, staring right at her wet body, which looked so delicious with its beautiful curves. Mo Yinyu was offended, but couldn't say anything to Master Karu. She held back her raging anger and replied mercilessly, I was dragged down into the water by that motherfucking asshole. Oh. Master Karu nodded. His greedy eyes still didn't stop roaming over Mo Yinyu's sexy body. He said with a horny smile on his face, Miss Mo, you didn't let him do things to you, did you? Hell no. Mo Yinyu denied with a cold face, it's just I'm not good with the water. So he took the chance to get away. Which direction? Master Karu said with a weird frown. That guy had the strangest body structure. Even my gut-cutting poison couldn't break him. He was indeed a good trial subject. I won't let someone like him escape. Then let's not waste any time. Mo Yinyu was already furious. She didn't want to waste too much time with Master Karu and started chasing Shi Yin right away, heading in the direction he disappeared. Once she turned around, Master Karu started staring at her sexy curves with his creepy, cold snake-like eyes. After staring at her wet plump ass for a while, the beautiful body of Mo Yinyu disappeared into the bushes. Master Karu laughed with a horny smile and followed her with lightning speed. Chapter 11. Strike Back. Chapter 11. Strike Back. A crowd of people had started to gather in the dark forest, which was filled with all kinds of trees and plants. Warriors from the Mo family had separated into groups and were searching for Shi Yin in their designated areas. They all had a depressed look on their faces. Mo Yinyu's face was as cold as ever. She gave her order in a sharp voice, Go search for that bastard. Now, once you have found any trace of him, set off the blue smoke bomb. Don't fight him individually. It has been 3 days, and we still cannot find that guy, but we keep finding traces of him. Is he that poor at covering his tracks, or has he been intentionally playing with us? Master Karu said with a sour face, apparently irritated by Shi Yin's tricks. For the past few days, the whole crowd had been looking for Shi Yin in the dark forest. They could occasionally see the footprints and broken tree branches he left behind on his way through. He must have been around this area for days, but no matter how hard they searched, they couldn't find anything. Not even the smallest clue as to the whereabouts of Shi Yin. Search a bigger area. Mo Yinyu was pissed off and shouted her new order. Start from here and search separately. Do your best. Once you see him, release the blue smoke bomb. I will be there in an instant. The warriors of the Mo family all complied obediently. Is it okay to leave the ground dragon alone? Master Karu frowned and said worriedly, All my medicine bottles are with the dragon. If that boy goes over there to mess with my medicine, he would cause me more trouble than I could handle. Master Karu, don't you worry. The ground dragon is being guarded by Johnson and 7 other warriors. Johnson has already reached the 3rd sky of the elementary realm. That asshole is no match for him. Mo Yinyu said with a proud face. Master Karu nodded in consent. The warriors of the Mo family had moved further and further away, and the members had become more and more distanced from each other. With one hand on the blue smoke bomb, the warriors were not that stressed. As soon as they saw any trace of Shi Yin, all they had to do was to set off the blue smoke. Simple enough. One of the warriors was walking in the shade, cursing Shi Yin at the same time with an angry face. He looked up at the tree branches above his head, and then checked the bushes around his ankles. They had been searching this area for the past 3 days, all for a junior warrior who had barely reached the elementary realm. There was no trace of him at all. They didn't even believe that he was still in the area. They all thought that Shi Yin had already left. Therefore, all the warriors were not happy when they were ordered to search this area again, complaining in secret and thinking that they were wasting their time. There was no point for them to do this. The warrior arrived under one of the aged trees, shaded by all the thick branches and leaves. This time, when he looked up, all he could feel was a chill, cold and evil, pouring down onto him. All of a sudden, Shi Yin jumped down from the tree like a fierce wolf, crushing the warrior's face with his knee. Boom! With a strong blow, the warrior's face was instantly covered in fresh blood. He fell on the ground, with his eyes filled with blood and tears. For a moment, he couldn't see anything. All he could do was stab his dagger wildly, shouting in panic, "Here! He's over here!" Before he could release the blue smoke bomb in his left hand, an intense pain spread from his left wrist. He couldn't stand it and let the blue smoke bomb be taken away from him. Boom, boom, boom. Shi Yin put on the cruelest face he had ever made. Before he could realize, his eyes had already turned dark red and there was a murderous look in his eyes. He moved swiftly around the warrior, hiding away from his random stabbings, and continued stepping on his face, showing no mercy. With his profound chi running wild through both of his legs, Shi Yin's every hit was as powerful as an iron hammer. Under such strong attacks, it only took 5 strikes for the warrior to stop breathing. Seeing this, Shi Yin stepped towards the dead warrior, grabbed the dagger from his lifeless hand, and stabbed straight into the warrior's neck with a precise and cruel cut. Shi Yin's face remained calm and cold all this time. All of a sudden, a strong wave of invisible energy spilled out of the warrior's body, mixed with strings of emotions such as distress, anger, and panic, all pouring out at once. The energy was quickly absorbed by Shi Yin and flowed into his meridians. Within a few seconds, the warrior had lost all his profound chi and turned into a mummified body. Shi Yin approached the dead body again. He searched through his pockets with a frown and only found a packet of food and a few dozen purple crystal coins. Shi Yin took away his possessions and quickly left the scene. He didn't want to stop in one place for long, making his way swiftly through the dark forest swiftly like a fox and soon disappearing into the trees. This was the first time that he had ever taken a man's life. However, he was not at all nervous or panicky. He had remained calm and cool-headed the whole time. When he was stepping hard onto the warrior's face, he felt nothing but an overwhelming thrill, a great satisfaction that he couldn't describe with words. He was free. He felt like he was a warrior by nature, and that he was born to kill. The killing had brought him a feeling of euphoria. It was the most wonderful moment that he had never experienced. All the unpleasant feelings that had been haunting him for days were instantly cast away the moment he cut that warrior's neck. Deep down, Shi Yin knew this wasn't right, and that there must be something wrong with his body. No normal person would be this calm and steady when killing his first victim, not like him. Normal people wouldn't feel this kind of thrill or bliss either. However, he was like an obsessed drug addict when it came to murder and killing. As the profound chi from the warrior's body rushed into Shi Yin's meridians, there was again a strong urge of murder flaring up inside his body. Before long, a strange energy poured into his profound chi, making it even stronger and more concentrated than ever. This felt so good. For 5 days, Shi Yin was like a ghost in the dark forest. He was everywhere, always killing, and always precise and accurate. The murders all happened in sneak attacks before those poor warriors had chance to release their blue smoke bombs in their hand. Within days, another 3 warriors became Shi Yin's victims. Every time, when their bodies were discovered, they had already become mummified, with all their blood and profound chi sucked away. Mo Yinyu became more and more agitated. She searched and searched around the dark forest with Master Karu, desperate to dig Shi Yin out. Both of them had started to smell a crisis on the horizon. For the first victim, his face was terribly destroyed, with a cruel blow to his head, and there were still some traces of a struggle. For the second and third victims, they were both secretly attacked from behind, with several brutal stabs in their hearts and abdomen, with only traces of a brief fight still there. However, for the last warrior, he was killed instantly with a clear cut on the throat, and there was no trace of a fight at all. Judging from the 4 dead warriors, Yin was becoming more and more skilled at killing. The dark forest had become a perfect arena for showing off his talent of murder. He skillfully used the landscape to cover his own tracks. Like an experienced hunter, he was secretly hiding in the forest, watching and waiting for his next prey. The death of those 4 warriors had made the other warriors all very nervous. Mo Yinyu and Master Karu were also starting to take this seriously. As per their new orders, the warriors were not allowed to act individually. They were only allowed to move in groups of 2. This way, if one of them was attacked, the other one could come right over at help, in order to avoid the tragedy that had happened before. In the dark forest, on the top of an aged tree, wrapped and covered by layers of leaves, Yin sat cross-legged in silence, looking at those little human figures in the distance through the leaves. Not as stupid as before, Yin sniffed from the inside. He knew it wouldn't be that easy for him to strike and kill now. Yin didn't rush into attacks. He watched those warriors for a while, and noticed that after the death of the previous 4 warriors, the Mo family warriors had started to act in groups of 2, hence they couldn't cover a search area as large as before. Right now, they were not coming in his direction, but moving away from Yin's location. After making sure that the warriors were not coming his way, at least not in a short period of time, Yin closed his eyes quietly and started to circulate the profound qi inside his body. The profound qi of those killed by Yin over the past few days had all been absorbed by Yin's meridians shortly after they died, and was purifying his meridians and strengthening his profound qi in a powerful way. Yin started to circulate the profound qi inside his body faster and faster with his mind. He could clearly feel that his profound qi was much stronger than before, rushing through his meridians like an intense lightning all over his body, from his abdomen and all the way to his right arm. Yin held his breath, cleared his mind, and concentrated all his attention in pouring the profound qi into his right arm. Now, he released this burning energy all at once. The profound qi inside his arm was flowing rapidly towards his right index finger like wild horses escaping from their reins. Shoot! Some silver-colored light smoke suddenly shot out of his right index finger, making a strange sound in the air. The light smoke didn't gather in the air, and only lasted for a few minutes before it faded away. Yin opened his eyes, with bright stars shining in his black eyes and a surprised smile on his face. He had successfully managed to push his profound qi outside of his body. This marked him reaching the 3rd sky of the elementary realm. After his rigorous practice over the past few days, he had finally made it to a new level with the help of that strange power inside his meridians. Although the profound qi that was forced from his body was not in a concentrated shape and couldn't make itself into a sharp beam, he would be able to infuse his profound qi into all kinds of killing weapons, and could directly rupture the enemy's organs with his profound qi shot, which meant that he had already reached a milestone in his control and operation of profound qi. Chapter 12. The Mysterious Martial Skill in the Blood Vein Ring. Chapter 12. The Mysterious Martial Skill in the Blood Vein Ring. After Yin withdrew the profound qi that had flown out of his body, he set his eyes upon the crimson ring on his left ring finger. This mysterious ring, which he had named the Blood Vein Ring, came from the blood pool and had some connection with it. As he was thinking, he recalled the time when he wore the ring for the first time. Back then, the profound qi in his body was very weak, but the moment he wore the ring, it rushed toward the ring in a wild manner. But since it was too weak then, his qi couldn't flow into the ring across his skin. Now he had already reached the 3rd sky, meaning his profound qi had been strengthened and refined to the point that it could move out of his body. What would happen if his profound qi went into the ring? Yin was curious and guessed that there was a secret inside this ancient ring. Maybe after studying this ring, he could find out the reason why his meridians changed. Through the leaves, Yin observed for a while. 3 warriors from Mo family were moving away from him and would not come back for a short time. Shi Yin decided to give it a shot. At first, the profound qi was flowing slowly in his dantian. Then it suddenly accelerated and rushed into his left arm. His qi moved rapidly, and he felt a numb pain in the veins of his left arm. The qi rushed all the way into the ring finger on his left hand with a crushing force and lashed against the skin under the ring. Like smoke, the profound qi leaked out from between the ring and the skin, making the sound of steam coming out of a kettle, and the pure energy dived right inside the ring in an instant. The blood vein ring let out a crimson light, as if the protective layer of the ring had been ruptured. At this point, a strange energy jumped out of the blood vein ring and flew back into Shi Yan's arm. It went straight up his neck and finally arrived in his mind. Martial skill. The energy coming out of the blood vein ring was a series of memory fragments. This was a strange martial skill. The training procedure became deeply engraved in his mind. Martial skills taught warriors how to operate their profound qi and contained a skill for attacking with profound qi. Just like the ranking for alchemists, it was divided into 5 grades: mortal, profound, spirit, sacred, and god. But there were some differences between the ranking of martial skills and that of alchemists. Every grade of alchemist consisted of 7 sublevels, while martial skills contained no sublevels. High-grade martial skills brought the best out of the profound qi inside a warrior and provided them with an enormous ability to attack. The higher the grade of the martial skill, the better it tapped their profound qi. If a warrior was to train with a high-grade martial skill, he had to reach a high level first. The stronger the martial skill, the stricter the conditions it required. Generally speaking, warriors of the elementary and nascent realm were suitable for training mortal and human-level martial skills, disaster realm for profound and earth-level skills, nirvana realm for spirit and sky-level skills, spirit realm for sacred-level skills, and true god and king god realm for god-level skills. It was a waste of time if a warrior of a lower grade tried to train with high-grade martial skills. If one's grade was too low and their profound qi was not intense enough, one would not succeed in learning a high-grade martial skill. Even if they barely succeeded, he could not use the power of a high-grade martial skill proficiently, as their realm and power would not be enough to sustain them. It was best for a warrior to train with martial skills which matched their warrior realm. For example, even if a warrior of the nascent realm possessed god-level martial skill, it would be a total waste of time, because he would never be able to train it with his low realm. Conversely, if a warrior of a high realm trained with a low-level martial skill, he couldn't put his power to good use either. If a warrior of the true god realm had only low-grade martial skills of the mortal and profound grade, his ability would be restricted. 4. If his martial skills were too low for his warrior realm, he could only use 70% to 80% of his ability. On the Grace mainland, martial skills were more treasured than pills from alchemists. They were the most valuable treasure on this earth. Generally speaking, martial skills were controlled by those honorable families and all sorts of forces. It was one of the attractions for warriors. As such, they often joined to those honorable families to have access to them. The higher the grade, the more valuable the martial skill. Warriors of a high realm would be severely restricted if they didn't possess a high-grade martial skill. They would be at a disadvantage, sometimes resulting in them being killed in fights. Thus, in order to acquire a suitable high-grade martial skill, those high-leveled warriors would sacrifice anything. Sitting straight up in the foliage, Shi Yin sorted out the memories in his mind little by little. After he put those memory fragments in order, he found that the martial skill consisted of 3 levels as well. What got imprinted in his mind now was only the first level of the training process. He had no idea what martial skill grade was, or whether suited him or not. This martial skill leaked out from the blood vein ring and rushed into his mind in a direct yet weird way. To train in this martial skill, one needed to reverse the flow of their profound qi, which was of the opposite most martial skills. Shi Yin hesitated. Could he train this incomplete martial skill, whose story was still unknown? As one of the 5 biggest families in the Merchant Union, the Shi family had its own martial skills, the highest of which reached the spirit level. It was regarded as a family heirloom by the family head of Shi family, Shi Jian. This old man was the only person who had reached the realm required to train with it. Nonetheless, apart from this spirit-level martial skill, The Shi family also possessed mortal and profound level martial skills. Shi Yin had decided to return to Shi family and train with their mortal and profound level martial skills with his new identity. But now, the blood vein ring had produced this mysterious and unknown martial skill. He was totally confused. Should he train with it or not? With a rigid face, Shi Yin tried to refine his profound qi and pushed it into the blood vein ring, only to find his profound qi blocked by a protective screen within the ring. No matter how hard he tried, his profound qi couldn't break the screen. He came to the vague conclusion that there was something behind that protective screen, but he would never know until it was broken. Behind that protective screen, there might be more information about. Most likely, it would be the process of the other two levels of training. Sadly, his profound qi could not break that screen until it was strong enough. Helplessly, Shi Yin withdrew his profound qi from the ring. He arranged the incomplete memory fragments of the martial skill again, but he was still hesitant to train with it or not. Being wrapped in foliage with his eyes shining, Shi Yan's facial expressions kept on changing. After a very long time, he decided to see what would happen to his body if he trained in the first level of. His profound qi moved towards the Jugu meridian slowly. After it arrived, according to the spinning process of first level of, Shi Yin slowly injected his profound qi into the Jugu meridian. Instantly, it started to spin rapidly. Negative moods buried in that meridian, such as hatred, despair, and insanity, were all triggered in a burst, which turned into a certain force and began to change the veins, bones, blood, and flesh around the Jugu meridian. All of a sudden, he felt a severe pain. The blood and flesh around the Jugu meridian suddenly contracted and his muscles became tight instantly. After a quick thought, Shi Yin began to reverse the flow of his profound qi in no time. An unbearable pain suddenly raced through his whole body and felt that his veins were very nearly torn apart. After it traveled several inches, Shi Yin made up his mind and forced his profound qi up. His profound qi jumped across the Jugu meridian and rushed to the Jinjin meridian like an angry beast. After it accumulated in his Jinjin meridian, his profound qi spun just like before, which again brought out those negative moods of hatred, despair, and anger hidden in the meridian all at once. The blood and flesh in that area began to contract again. To Shi Yan's surprise, there was even a vague gray fog rising up from each pore on his shoulder, which was mixed with despair and hatred. Haunting. The profound qi reversed again. Shi Yin felt a splitting pain in his right arm, and his forehead and back were both soaked in sweat. Severe pain. Biting his teeth, the insanity inside Shi Yin broke out abruptly. Despite the pain in his arm, Shi Yin continued to urge his profound qi in the direction of Woolly Meridian. After an unknown passage of time, Shi Yin moved his profound qi all the way from his Jugu Meridian to his Yangqi Meridian near his wrist, all while suppressing the desire to vomit. All sorts of negative energy inside the meridians of the right arm seemed to be brought out at once. Examining carefully, Shi Yin found the muscles on his right arm had contracted, so much so that they were much thinner than before. The dim gray fog curled up his arm ceaselessly, conveying those negative moods. Merely by looking at it, one would be easily affected by its power, feeling extremely terrified. The profound qi was moving back and forth in his arm. A strong power which could burst a dam was surging in his arm, combined with all sorts of negative moods. Shi Yin felt enormous power in his right arm, as if it would burst out at any minute. In the bottom of his heart, a series of whims containing killing and cruelty showed up. Breathing heavily, Shi Yan's eyes showed a murderous look. Among the trees, he started searching for targets, viciously like a wolf. How he wished he could grind every person he saw into powder with his right arm. It wouldn't be content until he smashed those people into mud. A short while later, two shadows, along with loud curses, were moving towards his direction slowly. They were both warriors of the Mo family. After searching other places but finding no trace of Shi Yin, they were sent by Mo Yinyu to search this area. Where's that bastard? I'm gonna cut off his head at sight of him. Crap. My mistress is still waiting for me in the merchant union. I have wasted too much of my time here because of that bastard. Damn. A stout warrior was viciously cursing, whose face was buried under a heavy mustache. "Juntai, be careful. That bastard killed 4 of us. He must be a tough one to deal with. He ate twice what we eat for 1 meal. So strange. Don't underestimate him." The other warrior looked cautious, and he kept looking around, being more careful apparently. "Don't worry. We are both at the second sky of the nascent realm, and we are 2 people. It's asking for death if that bastard tries to attack us. Let us kill him soon so that we can leave. I have enough with this crazy place. I want women. Women." The warrior named Jun Tai seemed too eager for a woman that he began to shout in the woods. "Yeah, well, Miss Mo is a woman too," that cautious warrior mocked in a low voice. "Well, Miss Mo is a woman, but she is out of our league. I noticed that Master Karu went to Miss Mo quite a lot these days. Maybe he has a good chance. Look at Miss Mo, that face, that ass. Let's see which lucky bastard could get her. Our level is too low. There is not even a slightest hope in this life." Jintai lowered his voice, wearing a sinister smile on his face. He seemed to be having some fantasy. When it came to a joyful part, he straightened his body and laughed loudly. "Stop daydreaming. Miss Mo is already engaged. That Ling Xiaofeng is a very tough guy. If he knew you are fantasizing about her, you would be dead." Upon hearing Ling Xiaofeng's name, Jintai looked panicked. He whispered, "That kid is too strange. I have heard that he has almost reached the human realm. I have seen him kill. He is unimaginably cruel. Even Master Karu would not escape if he annoyed Ling Xiaofeng. Seriously, we have to be careful. If he heard what we said..." Jintai shivered. Apparently he was too scared of Mo Yinyu's fiancée. With rigid faces, the 2 discussed Ling Xiaofeng as they walked toward where Shi Yin was, not knowing that in the thick leaves above them, there was a bloody beast. Mortal, profound, spirit, sacred, and God. 5 grades of martial skills. Chapter 13. Surprise Kill. Chapter 13. Surprise Kill. Shi Yin couldn't control his bloodlust anymore. He panted, suddenly jumping up from the thicket. His profound chi was flowing in his right arm like waves with a fierce and violent killing energy which was about to explode from the inside. Crap! The warrior who had been on alert suddenly paled and screamed loudly for help. Landing on top of his head, Shi Yin started his strike like a sharp sword as his profound chi formed into a thick smog around his arm. Ahead of him, Shi Yin cast his profound chi out like a net, which tightly wrapped up the warrior's head in an instant. In that moment, an intense wave of negative feelings, blended with endless resentment and desperation, suddenly rushed into his nose and mouth. The Mo family warrior felt like he was standing in the middle of a bloody ocean with thousands of evil spirits flying towards him, grabbing him with full force and tearing him apart. He couldn't move even if he tried to. Thump! Shi Yan's iron-like fist struck the warrior's skull with a mighty force. With a clear sound, the warrior's skull exploded. He didn't even get to scream before he breathed his last breath. All his profound chi rushed out and was directly absorbed into Shi Yan's meridians. The other warrior named Zheng Tai looked absolutely horrified and instantly set off his blue smoke bomb. The blue smoke bomb flew up into the sky and exploded with a shining blue light even brighter than the sun. "Look, over there." Seeing that blue light, Mo Yinyu suddenly got excited. She turned around and quickly flew towards that direction with no hesitation. Master Karu didn't move at first. He sneered for a moment and then followed Mo Yinyu. "You bastard! Let's see how you get away this time." After releasing the blue smoke bomb, Zheng Tai was not as panicky as before. He stared at Shi Yin with burning eyes and sneered, "We have been looking for you all this time. Finally, you came out. This time, where can you run to?" Shi Yin was breathing heavily. With the bloodlust becoming more and more concentrated in his eyes, Shi Yin could feel an endless urge for blood within his chest. That warrior's profound chi which flew into Shi Yan's body after he died had further fueled this killing impulse within his body. It was as if there was a voice whispering into his ears, continuously encouraging him to indulge in his desire for blood. Seeing that Shi Yin was just standing there panting, instead of making a move towards him, Zhang Tai felt a bit relieved. He kept his distance from Shi Yin and sneered, "Hey you, Miss Mo and Master Karu will be here in a moment. You are gonna die for sure." With a roar rising out of his throat, Shi Yin suddenly flew towards Zhang Tai, like a caged beast running wild. There was a beam of white smoke surrounding his right arm which looked just like a giant snake. The snake suddenly jumped out and came right towards Zhang Tai's neck. Zhang Tai was already prepared. He didn't directly counter Shi Yin. Instead, he moved away from by a couple of meters. However, that snake of white smoke was not that easy to get rid of. It kept chasing Zhang Tai as if it was alive. Even though Zhang Tai stepped back, it didn't give up and still followed him, intending to wrap around him like a cocoon. Zhang Tai was a little surprised. He sniffed a little and started to cut the smoke snake with the sharp blade in his hands. The white smoke snake was cut into half instantly. However, it didn't stop. The two parts of snake rose up and started to wrap around both of his arms. At that moment, two waves of evil spirits rushed into Zhang Tai's head. His body froze, both eyes filled with bloody scenes and creepy skeletons. He felt like he was suddenly deprived of all his power. Boom! Shi Yin arrived right in front of Zhang Tai and hit him in the face with all the force in his right fist. In just one hit, an ocean of bloody and turbulent profound qi exploded out of Shi Yin's fist and drilled straight into Zhang Tai's head. With blood all over his face, as well as a terrified and unbelievable look in his eyes, Zhang Tai felt a chill running down his body and he collapsed face down on the ground. His profound qi flew out just like those dead warriors before him. The bodies of the two warriors gradually turned into mummies, without a trace of blood on their faces, drained of all their profound qi. Despite all the fierce bloodlust roaring in his mind, Shi Yin retained his rationale and carefully checked the belongings of those two dead warriors. He collected all the valuable food and crystal coins and climbed into the ancient tree like an agile monkey. He hid himself among those thick leaves and branches and told himself to calm down over and over again. However, the crazy desire for blood was still there in his mind. Shi Yin sat there and started to operate his profound qi. The profound qi that had been flowing within his right arm a moment ago was gradually maneuvered into his abdomen and his right arm had returned to normal. Shi Yin tried his best to control his breath and withdrew the flying evil spirits back into his body. The killing light gradually disappeared from his eyes. Through the thick leaves, Shi Yin looked at the movement on the ground in full concentration. Before long, a crowd started to gather under the tree. The first two were also warriors from the Mo family. Like Zhang Tai, they were also elementary realm warriors that had reached the second sky and couldn't push their profound qi out of their body yet. They looked alert after they arrived, and they kept looking around for traces of Shi Yin, afraid he might strike again. After a while, Mo Yinyu and Master Karu arrived one after another. Mo Yinyu arrived first. She took a quick look at the two dried bodies lying on the ground and said in a firm voice, "Yes, it was him." A cold, killing light started to spread within her eyes. She moved around, trying to find some trace of him. She started to study the leaves and branches, trying to figure out whether he had left or not. Before, if Shi Yin tried to escape, he would have broken some branches of the tree, or left behind some heavy and messy footprints. In that short time, there was no way for him to cover his tracks. Mo Yinyu was right about that. But what a shame. Shi Yin hadn't left at all. He had been hiding in that ancient tree all along. Mo Yinyu searched everywhere, but couldn't find a thing. Her beautiful face held an ugly frown. Damn it. Fucking hell. There is no trace of him at all. After Master Karu arrived, he looked around with his shrewd eyes and suddenly looked up and shouted, "You little shit. Come out of the tree now. You think you can get away with this again?" Shi Yin was surprised by Master Karu's reaction. He couldn't help but lose his control. A freezing light flew out of his dark eyes. The killing desire that he had been suppressed inside of his body was unleashed. "There you are." Master Karu sneered and instantly summoned a creepy gray bomb in his hands. The bomb was suddenly thrown towards Shi Yin's hiding place in a flash. "You fucking asshole. Where can you hide this time? Mo Yinyu put on a scary face and also struck the place where Shi Yin was hiding with her powerful, mixed with beams of electricity. Who? Shi Yin jumped out of the leaves. He didn't lay eyes on Mo Yinyu or Master Karu at all. Once he was out, he instantly ran for the next tree with the thickest leaves. However, both Mo Yinyu and Master Karu were warriors of the Nascent Realm, which was superior to Shi Yan's elementary realm. Unless Shi Yin attacked them by surprise, there was no way that Shi Yin could confront them face to face, to say nothing of one versus the two of them. Don't lose him. With a loud shout, Mo Yinyu flew after Shi Yin, while the two warriors of the Mo family followed behind. Master Karu didn't chase Shi Yin instantly. He watched the gray bomb completely destroy the tree branches where Shi Yin had been hiding, waved his hand, and summoned that creepy gray bomb back into his palm. He sneered again, and then followed Mo Yinyu at the speed of light. The two warriors of the Mo family were soon left behind. Mo Yinyu and Master Karu were chasing Shi Yin one after another. They were soon closing in. Boom! A bright blue light ball suddenly exploded right in front of Mo Yinyu and Master Karu, with the shining blue light almost blinding the two of them. Mo Yinyu and Master Karu were too busy following Shi Yin to pay attention to their surroundings, and were instantly surprised and blinded by the shining flash of the blue light. They collided into two giant trees. Before they could regain their eyesight, Shi Yin was already miles away. A blue smoke bomb. Damn it! Mo Yinyu shouted and continued to chase Shi Yin with an angry face. Master Karu was apparently irritated too. He swore something and suddenly flew ahead of Mo Yinyu. This time, he was not holding back his real power. Fucking asshole. This time, I'm gonna make you beg for mercy. Boom. Another blue smoke bomb exploded in front of him, but this time, Master Karu was prepared. He closed his eyes just in time and continued to chase Shi Yin after the bright flash of that blue smoke bomb faded away. As a warrior of the Nascent Realm, Master Karu's power was way above that of Shi Yan's. He flew just like a wind, as fast as lightning. After the second blue smoke bomb, he soon closed the gap between him and Shi Yin. The gray bomb. Master Karu summoned another gray bomb inside his palm. He put on an evil face and lifted his hands when he was about 20 meters away from Shi Yin. Boom! That gray bomb was cast out just like a cannonball, heading straight at the back of Shi Yin. Boom! Shi Yin released another blue smoke bomb. The blue smoke bomb and that gray bomb crashed into each other and exploded, releasing bright green light which covered the whole sky. The green light fell onto the forest and started a wildfire. Thanks to that blue smoke bomb, Shi Yin had won some time to escape. He kept running like hell. Once he sensed that Master Karu was closing in on him, he would release a blue smoke bomb that he had taken from the warriors before and buy himself some time to run away. But finally, Shi Yin had run out of all the blue smoke bombs in his hands. At that moment, he suddenly felt a strange warm stream of energy flowing throughout his body from his meridians. The profound chi he had extracted from those two dead warriors had been purified by his body and become part of his own profound chi within his abdomen, enhancing his power to the next level. Instantly, Shi Yin turned around and started running towards Master Karu as if he were crazy. Master Karu put a creepy sneer on his face again. He did not panic at all. He slowly operated the profound chi inside his body, preparing his plan. Within seconds, his whole body was covered with a layer of dark light, half a meter thick. He was using profound chi to protect his body. Shi Yin was a little shocked, but he didn't slow down because of this. Even with his profound chi concentrated within his left hand, Shi Yin didn't release it up front. He held his iron-like fist like a sharp knife and stuck it right at Master Karu's stomach. With the look of contempt in his eyes, Master Karu didn't move at all, as if he was waiting for Shi Yan's strike. Boom! With one hit on the layer of dark light covering Master Karu's body, Shi Yin felt like he was hitting a layer of cotton. He only hit the layer of dark light. He could not hurt Master Karu's body at all. Oomph! You low-grade elementary realm warrior. Wanna break my? It's not that easy. Master Karu sneered, and with a wave, a gray bomb sped out of his palms, right at Shi Yan's chest. Yin was struck instantly. With an intense wave of power storming into his chest, Yin flew backwards, his mouth filled with blood. He could even hear the sound of his bones crushing inside his chest. Falling on the ground, Yin felt like his whole body had shattered and felt an unbearable pain all over. His mouth was filled with blood. "You have no idea who you are dealing with." Master Karu shook his head and slowly walked toward Yin with a dark face. "You boy, come back to be my medicine slave. Don't ever attempt to run away again. You should know that I didn't strike you with my full power. Otherwise, you would have been dead already." Again, Yin stood up. He wiped the blood from his lips and rushed towards Master Karu again with a terrifying look in his eyes. You want to die? Sure." Master Karu laughed like crazy. This time, he didn't hide either and activated his again. His entire body was instantly covered by a shining dark light. Yin held up his right fist and rushed towards Master Karu, as if he wanted to try the same attack as last time. Master Karu sneered, "Come on, boy. You are certainly looking for death this time." As Yin was rushing forward, something strange suddenly happened to his right hand. Before he hit Master Karu's, a layer of white light appeared around his right fist. A strong wave of negative energy, combined with desperation, fear, and a killing lust, rushed out together instantly. Master Karu became anxious. However, it was already too late for him to make any contingency plans. The next moment, a terrifying storm of horrifying negative desires, filled with craziness and desperation, struck Master Karu's. That was more than capable of defending from a full-strength strike from an elementary realm warrior, shattered into pieces within seconds. The evil spirits entangled around Yin's right fist smashed right through Master Karu's body, storming through into his body like a wild wave. Under the influence of that overwhelming killing power, Master Karu's mind, as well as his body, was completely frozen. He had absolutely no time to react or prepare his defense. Yin took out the dagger that he had been hiding in his left sleeve and swiped right across Master Karu's neck. A hot wave of blood streamed out of Karu's neck, splashing all over Yin's body. A head flew up into the air and fell onto the ground 3 meters away. The profound chi inside Master Karu's body was now running wild. Mixed with all those terrifying thoughts inside Master Karu's mind right before his last breath, his profound chi was now flowing into Yin's meridians with an unstoppable force. Yin could clearly feel the strong energy within this unique wave of profound chi. His whole body trembled slightly with excitement. Different from previous warriors like Zheng Tai, Master Karu was a nascent realm warrior. The profound chi inside his body was much thicker and more concentrated. The profound chi that Yin got from him after his death was way more powerful than what he got from the previous warriors. Yin was standing still. He couldn't move at all. It took him almost a minute to absorb all the profound chi inside Master Karu's body. After taking off the only bag that Master Karu had on him, Yin felt like his whole body was aching, as if he had lost all the power in his arms and legs, especially his right arm, which he had used for his previous attacks. He couldn't use any strength in his right arm, as if this was the consequence he had to face after such an intense attack which had caused some backlash in his body. "Don't let him get away." Not far behind, he could hear the shouting and screaming of Mo Yinyu. Although the several blue smoke bombs Yin had set off had successfully slowed her down, she had managed to catch up after a couple of minutes. It seemed that she wasn't alone. Chasing along with her were a few warriors from the Mo family. At the moment, Yin could feel that some energy within his body was caged for the moment, so he didn't want to fight against Mo Yinyu or those warriors directly. Yin took Master Karu's backpack, jumped into the thick bushes, and started running like hell once again. Chapter 14. Music from the Heaven. Chapter 14. Music from Heaven. Mo Yinyu suddenly stopped. The 4 warriors from the Mo family, who followed her out of the thick forest, were filled with a heavy look on their face. On the ground lied Master Karu's corpse, which was still warm. However, the corpse had already been deprived of all its profound chi, and lay there dry as a mummy. Looking at the scene, all 4 warriors stood by Imo Yinyu's side with terror in their eyes. One of them came up to Imo Yinyu after some hesitation and said, "Miss Imo?" Imo Yinyu was trembling. After a while, she replied with a frown, "Stop the chase." "But miss," the warrior wanted to add something. Master Karu had already achieved the second sky of the nascent realm, the same level as me. Moreover, he had far more fighting experience than me. Imo Yinyu shook her head with a hopeless look. "I don't know how he killed Master Karu, but this means that he is capable of killing any of us right now. If we keep chasing him, we probably won't even be able to make it back to the Merchant Union. So we just let him go like this? Miss Mo, we have spent a lot of money in order to get Master Karu to work for us," that warrior said in a low voice. "So, Li Tian, if we don't give up, can you come up with a better idea?" That warrior suddenly went silent. Imo Yinyu kneeled down beside the cold corpse of Master Karu. She searched through his body and cursed in a low voice, "Shit! That bastard has taken everything from Master Karu, all the medicine and medical books. This time we are literally here for nothing." All the other 4 warriors went silent together. They didn't dare to say anything. "Go back to Johnson. From now on, we must act in groups. No individual movement is allowed." Imo Yinyu took a deep breath. Then, she stood up and turned back to the way they came. From that moment, she hated Shi Yan's guts. On the other side, Shi Yan was still running for his life in the dark forest. The bloodthirst was still running wild inside his body. It was devouring his consciousness bit by bit. The negative energy of madness, brutality, and bloodthirst was invading his mind uncontrollably. Gradually, his sight blacked out and his body felt on the verge of a breakdown from the wild energy. At that moment, he was extremely weak and tired. He couldn't gather any strength in his arms or legs. He must avoid a fight with anyone. Otherwise, he would be dead for sure. Shi Yan wasn't sure how long he could hold on. He never expected his body to react in such a strange way, so he had made no contingency plans. Boom! The wild bloodthirst inside his mind finally exploded. Shi Yan was panting heavily as he totally lost his sight. There was only one voice in his head, whispering, repeating the same word, "Kill, kill, 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 kill." Shi Yan knew that before long, he will have lost all his sanity and become a mindless, bloodthirsty beast. He would be filled with the intent to kill. A beautiful music suddenly flew into Shi Yan's ears from a distance. The music was like water drops falling onto a jade plate, like the wind shuttling through a silk curtain. It was as soft as a bird flapping its wings, as light as a gentle stream flowing through a quiet forest. The music was so beautiful, so peaceful, as if it flew down from heaven. The beautiful music was like a soft hand soothing his heart. It had taken away all his bloody and crazy desire. Slowly, it also helped Shi Yan regain his sanity, which was on the brink of breakdown. Thanks to that soft and soothing music, Shi Yan gradually regained his sanity before he lost his mind. He slowly walked in the direction of that music with an intoxicated look on his face. He felt like his whole body was soaking in that beautiful music, and all the bloodlust inside his body had totally disappeared. In a small valley full of unique flowers and special plants, Shi Yan saw a beautiful figure playing the zither. She was just sitting cross-legged in the middle of the flowers. She slightly lowered her head and was completely putting herself into the music, unaware of Shi Yan's presence. Shi Yan moved closer and closer and stopped around 100 meters away from her back. He stood there and was flabbergasted with the beautiful figure in front of him. He stood there with closed eyes, trying to immerse himself in the beautiful sound of zither. After a while, the sound of zither gradually slowed down and finally stopped. Shi Yan felt awakened from a pleasant dream. He found that his anger and bloodlust were completely gone, as if they had never existed. However, his body still felt heavy. The intense pain in his chest was especially intense. It seemed that he was still suffering from that blow from Master Karu. Shi Yan concentrated his attention and could feel the flowing profound qi within his meridians. He could sense that his body was still processing the profound qi that he had absorbed from Master Karu. The beautiful figure at distance slowly turned around with an ancient zither in her hands. She slightly frowned and looked straight at Shi Yin. Shi Yin couldn't help but tremble. His eyes were staring at the beautiful girl in front of him unceasingly. So beautiful, he unconsciously blurted out. That girl was around 18 or 19 years old, dressed in a white overskirt. Her eyes were sparkling, her teeth were gleaming, her skin was soft and smooth, and her figure was delicate and slim. She could be described as a beautiful goddess from heaven, but at the same time, also as the cute girl that lived next door. She was so perfect. Shi Yin couldn't tell who was more beautiful, Mo Yinyu, or the girl in front of him. The lovely girl gave Shi Yin a single glance. She then turned around in silence and walked slowly towards the little creek hundreds of meters away with the zither in her hands. Shi Yin couldn't help admiring the beautiful women in this world. Overall, he had only met 2 women in this world, but they were both so breathtaking, like one in a million. Miss, thanks a lot for your beautiful music. Can I? Seeing the girl was walking away from him, Shi Yin couldn't help but shout. Hey, stop it. Enough is enough. Suddenly, a strong figure jumped from the giant ancient tree in front of Shi Yin. It was a middle-aged man with a hairy yellow face. He was wearing a gray-brown warrior's outfit. He looked very tall and strong with a huge sword on his shoulder. But he didn't look very serious, just standing in front of Shi Yin, looking at him with a weird smile on his face. No doubt, Shi Yin was caught off guard. He instantly put on alert. Just by looking at him, he could clearly sense a terrifying energy from this yellow-faced man in front of him. It didn't take him long to understand that this yellow-faced man was definitely a warrior way above his level. The yellow-faced man was just looking at him, not intentionally releasing any energy to pressure him at all, but Shi Yin already felt like he was as untouchable as a steady mountain. Shi Yin took a step back, showing that he didn't come with any evil thoughts. Then he faked a smile and said, "The music that the beautiful Miss played was so enchanting. I just can't get enough. I stayed just to listen to more of her music, nothing else. Don't worry." To Shi Yin, this girl had the most magical music skills. Her beautiful music could apparently help him control the bloody desire within his mind. Shi Yin was not sure when this craving for blood inside of him would come back again. Therefore, he was desperate to find something to help him control this ugly desire inside him body. "I can tell that you are just a lustful guy, nothing else. Otherwise, I wouldn't have let you live until now." The yellow-faced man laughed and said in a relaxed mood, "But here is not the place for you to be lustful. I suggest you get the hell away from us. Otherwise, you will be in a lot of trouble." "Okay, as you wish." Shi Yin lifted both hands to show cooperation. He didn't stay any longer. However, he took a glance at that beautiful figure in distance before turning around and leaving. "Uncle Luo, I sensed a strong evil spirit in that man. Back then, his whole body was filled with a killing desire, and he almost went berserk. However, after his bloodlust faded away, he dared to take such a lustful look at me. I guess he shouldn't belong to the dark world," Mu Dai said with mild discomfort when she recalled Shi Yan's lustful look at her. That man, it seemed that he could never hide his desire from within. Although there were other men who also wanted her, they would at least do it in secret or cover up their desires when they laid eyes on her. They wouldn't expose their dirty thoughts to the world. However, that guy, he didn't even try to cover up his lust for her in his eyes. What she saw in his eyes was a simple and straightforward desire. He can't be from the dark world. The assassins sent by the dark world were all warriors of the nascent realm, but that guy was still an elementary realm warrior. Luo Hao laughed and said, "But interesting though, that guy was not even a nascent realm warrior, but dared to dream about our beautiful princess who has already achieved the third sky. This guy has some balls. Haha. I am still not sure when I can recover. Currently, I am powerless." Mu Dai slightly sighed with her heart filled with sorrow. "Uncle Luo, if the assassins did come and you couldn't defeat them, please just leave me behind. I can rely on myself." "What is this nonsense?" Hearing this, Luo Hao was apparently not very happy. He said with a firm voice, "We are not far away from the merchant union right now. If we can survive the next few weeks, 1 month at most, we can definitely get out of this dark forest. Once we reach the Merchant Union, the dark world can't do anything to hurt us. Goo, goo. With a strange whistle from the distance. Before long, 2 men and a woman who dressed like a mercenary came out of the forest with a heavy look. The leader came up to Luo Hao and said, "Sorry, Uncle Luo, we couldn't keep up with the trackers from the dark world." Luo Hao nodded and said with a frown, "We must set out right now and choose a new location to rest. Otherwise, the assassins from the dark world will soon find and surround us." The 5 of them did not stay for long. They quickly packed their stuff and left in a hurry. Right after Shi Yin left the girl, the craving for blood slowly rose up again in his mind. This unstoppable desire for blood may have something to do with the profound chi that Shi Yin got from Master Karu. Because Master Karu had the power of a nascent realm warrior, his profound chi was mixed with too much negative energy. Therefore, it would take Shi Yin much more time and effort to purify his profound chi. While his meridians were processing Master Karu's profound chi, these annoying negative energies would spill over from time to time and ignite his crazy desire for blood from inside his body. But that girl's music could help him control those wild desires, so he didn't lose his sanity and fall into an abyss of craziness and chaos back then. However, his meridians were still working on purifying Master Karu's profound chi. Until this process was completed, there was a pretty good chance that Shi Yin would fall into that bloody, crazy state again. Before his body finished the purification of Master Karu's profound chi, that beautiful girl could definitely be his cure to stay sane. Knowing that another bloody urge was slowly creeping up on him, Shi Yin was overwhelmed by a bad feeling. After some hesitation, he still started walking towards that girl's direction. Only the beautiful music of that girl could help him to calm down, and only by following her steps could Shi Yin get the chance to hear that heaven-like sound again. Chapter 15. Promoting to Nascent-Level Warrior. Chapter 15. Promotion to the Nascent Realm. "Uncle Luo, there's someone following us," one among the group of mercenaries said to their leader with a low voice. It must be that scout sent by the dark world. That mercenary had a young, handsome face. He looked like 25 to 26 years old and was already 185 meters tall, with a strong and slim figure. He was a nascent realm warrior who had already reached the 3rd sky. His eyes were shining with energy and was always on alert. Just from a simple glance, Shi Yin knew that he was an excellent warrior. No, he is not from the dark world. He is just a horny little stalker, so shameless. No need to pay attention to him. Luo Hao shook his head and said with a frown, "Let's hurry. Just leave him alone." Zhao Xian didn't look happy about this and said with a cold voice, "Is he after Miss Mu? How dare he? Shall I wait here to teach him a lesson?" While he was talking, he gave a caring look at the delicate girl named Mu Yu Dai, who was leaning on Luo Hao. "No, don't make any trouble if it's not necessary." Luo Hao shook his head again and asked the girl in a soft voice, "Dai, are you okay with this? Shall we speed up a little bit?" Mu Yu Dai was looking very pale and was perspiring heavily. She smiled politely. "Yes, I can hold on. We could go faster. Maybe it would be better if we leave that man behind. Otherwise, he will also be killed by those assassins sent by the dark world." Luo Hao couldn't help but sigh, feeling pity for this kind-hearted girl. He nodded to her and said, "Dai, don't use any more of your profound chi. I am here for you to lean on." After saying that, Luo Hao held the shoulders of Mu Yu Dai as if she were a delicate flower and ran between the trees in the forest with ease. When he was about to land on the ground, he would control his mighty body to just slightly touch the ground before jumping up again. There were no footprints left behind him. Obviously, he was a first-class master at maneuvering his profound chi. On the other side, Shi Yin was struggling very hard with such a march. It was becoming more and more difficult for him to breathe. The desire for blood had been killing him all the way. His body was also aching from the intense blow from Master Karu. Due to the intense fight he just had, Shi Yin suffered a severe loss of profound chi, which couldn't be restored within a short period of time. Under these circumstances, if he ever encountered Mo Yinyu again, there was no doubt that he would be dead. Therefore, he had no choice but to recover as soon as possible and control his own body, which had gone wild. The beautiful music of that girl was indeed his only hope. He didn't care whether that girl liked him or not. Yin felt like he didn't have a choice. Even if she thought that he was a shameless bastard, let it be. He would always follow her steps, as long as she would play that enchanting music again. Yin tried to control his growing urge for murder and had an evil look on his face. Yin moved most of his profound qi, which was not much, to his legs, and tried his best to keep up with the 5 people ahead of him. Yin completely cleared his mind and became more focused than ever. The only goal that he had in his mind was to keep up with those people. Once he cleared his thoughts, he felt this march not as hard as before. Uncle Luo, I cannot believe that guy was just an elementary realm warrior. In midst of their rapid movement, Zhao Xian suddenly said with surprise. Luo Hao was also wondering. According to his knowledge, a warrior of the elementary realm shouldn't be able to keep up with their speed. Although they had successfully distanced themselves from the man behind, they never managed to ditch him. That man must have some endurance to keep him chasing all the way. This made Luo Hao a little curious, making him wonder whether he had underestimated this warrior the previous time they met. Uncle Luo, I can keep up. You could speed up a little. Mu Yu Dai said with pain and a layer of sweat on her face. No, if we go any faster, you would get hurt. Luo Hao stubbornly refused. He said in a low voice with a frown, Don't pay too much attention to the man behind. He is looking for death. If he dies, it is not our fault. All Wu. As they spoke, a loud roaring as horrifying as that of a wild beast came from behind, which was apparently from Yin. However, that roaring didn't sound human at all. It was filled with craziness and an evil craving for blood and killing, making anybody who had heard it tremble inside. Is this guy human or not? The hot female mercenary named Dialin couldn't help but tremble, and said with a scared look in her eyes, How could any human make such a terrifying sound? This is even more terrifying than the roaring of a demon beast that had gone crazy. The crazy craving inside his body is eating him up again. Luo Hao started to look nervous and said quickly, Stay away from him. Otherwise, he might attack us. He has already gone crazy. It's not very difficult to kill him, but it might waste our precious time to escape. The unnecessary fight will certainly draw the attention of those Dark World's assassins, and we would be in a lot of trouble. Just let me help him. Otherwise, he will become a crazy monster that only knows to kill, and would start a bloody war in this dark forest. Mu Yu Dai said after a little hesitation, and unwrapped the zither that she had been carrying. Despite the dissuasion of Luo Hao and the other warriors, she sat down with her legs crossed and started to play a song. Luo Hao stepped hard on the ground with anger. He is such a bastard. He is not at all worthy of your help. The mesmerizing sound of the zither flowed through the dark forest like a gentle stream, right towards Yin, as if it was specifically meant for him. With both of his eyes turning crimson, Yin was on the brink of going crazy, almost losing to that murderous rage. Hearing the familiar music, he was suddenly awakened. With a light flashing through his eyes, he just stood there like completely lost in that beautiful music. A trace of the negative energy combined with desperation and fear slowly drifted out of his body and started to surround him like a light mist. It felt like millions of tornadoes in each of his 720 meridians, and he could feel the unique energy that he got from Master Karu being purified and concentrated over and over again. After a while, Yan's eyes gradually returned to normal, and he began to regain the look of a sane man. At that moment, he realized that this was all due to the generous help of that beautiful girl. She had saved him again. With deep gratitude in his heart, Yin sat down right where he was. He put his heart and soul into this beautiful music and started to operate his profound qi inside his body without a second thoughts. Immersing in this soothing music, he started to relax. Right in the middle of this dark forest, filled with all kinds of unexpected danger, Yin managed to enter the world of the selfless state. He didn't remember how long it took before he awoke. The mist wrapping around him had already been absorbed into his own body, and under his guidance, flew through the different meridians inside his body. Suddenly, thousands of warm but strange streams of energy spilled over from all the meridians in his body and started to propel his profound qi through his veins. Yin couldn't help but tremble. He could clearly feel his profound qi compressing and strengthening with an amazing speed. Within seconds, he could feel his profound qi became 5 or 6 times stronger, and it was more concentrated than before. His strengthened profound qi suddenly started to gather in his abdomen and filled his entire body with power. Realizing that he must have finally purified all the profound qi that he got from Master Karu, Yin was overwhelmed. Yin slowed his breathing and concentrated all his energy in operating all his profound qi towards his 12 major veins and 8 special veins. The profound qi stormed through his entire body like a raging flood. Yin was able to unblock all his congested veins, albeit suffering from intense pain. He felt as if his shoulders were finally able to relax. Now that his profound qi had become stronger than ever, he felt like he had unlimited potential. The sun had already set, and the moon was shining brightly in the starry sky. With the last of his veins cleared, Yin was very excited. He was trying very hard to contain his exuberance, while operating the profound qi in a cycle throughout the body. When his cycle was finally over, Yin felt like he was waking up from a very long dream. He looked up at all the shining stars in the sky, feeling nothing but unparalleled happiness. Now that he had broken through all the veins in his body, he could be said to have promoted to the nascent realm. From the profound qi that he got from Master Karu, and through the incidents when he almost lost his mind and went crazy with bloodlust, he had finally purified all the power he got from Master Karu and broke through all his veins with the newly purified and concentrated profound qi. Now he had finally entered into a whole new level. After purification of all the energy he got from Master Karu, the bloodlust that had once tangled his mind had suddenly vanished. Now that he thought about it, Yin realized that every time after absorbing the profound qi from the dead, and until the profound qi was completely purified by his meridians, there would always be some negative energy spilling over from his meridians, which would trigger the darker side of himself and drive him into a state of insanity. Because the first few victims of him were just elementary realm warriors with moderate energy, he could still control the negative desires. But Master Karu was a nascent realm warrior, with the power far beyond Yin's league. There was too much negative energy within Master Karu's profound qi. Therefore, that time Yin couldn't control the negative energy and almost lost his sanity. Right now, since he had fully purified the profound qi that he got from Master Karu and entered a completely new level, Yin didn't need to worry about the eruption of the evil power anymore. Kaka. Yin stretched his body a little and stood up slowly. He was feeling completely refreshed. The broken bones in his chest also seemed to have recovered. Yin checked his body for wounds, but found them all healed. This made him extremely happy. He knew that his speedy recovery was not only due to his promotion, but also had something to do with his immortal martial spirit. Right before losing himself to the music, he had felt the cells near his chest wounds repairing and beginning to heal. Looking around, Yin realized that the location he was in was completely exposed, with no tree cover or shade. Realizing that he had been operating his profound qi here, forgetting everything around him, Yin felt lucky that nothing unexpected had happened to him. By practicing his profound qi in such an exposed location, had Imo Yinyu still been looking for him, he would have definitely been captured by her. At present, that mesmerizing music was long gone. He remembered the sky was still bright when fell under the effects of music, however, now it was already midnight. He must have been practicing for a long time without realizing. He felt immense gratitude towards that beautiful girl. She had saved him more than once. The first time she might have saved him unintentionally, but the second time, it was specifically for him. Based on the discussion he overheard from the 5 people, Yin realized that they were being chased by someone. However, he didn't think too much and decided to continue following them. He didn't like owing favors, and so he decided to pay back the girl's kindness in his own way. Chapter 16 Treasure. Chapter 16 Treasure. Beside the small, gentle stream, the ground dragon was drinking water quietly, its robust body covered with scales. Mo Yinyu was sitting upright in a sedan high on the dragon and playing with a blue smoke bomb in her hand, lost in thought. Recently, she was haunted by Shi Yin. Every time she remembered the cold decisiveness in Shi Yan's eyes, she became restless. How she wished she could catch him and ruin his veins and bones. Given Master Karu's death, she had already released the medicine slaves who were of no use now. With her were 11 warriors from the Mo family who were only of the elementary realm. Their power was insufficient to help Mo Yinyu search for Shi Yin. As such, she could only wait for the relief troops from the family. All of a sudden, a pale blue light shot up across the sky some 5 miles ahead. They have arrived. Mo Yinyu's spirit rose. She immediately threw the blue smoke bomb up into the sky, and thus the same pale blue light was seen above her. The warriors around the ground dragon rejoiced with a lively outburst of happiness as if they were getting ready for a fight. In less than a quarter of an hour, 3 dark shadows showed up from afar and flew in their direction. The first of them had a graceful beard and wore an indifferent smile. He approached near Mo Yinyu and laughed loudly. "Yinyu, where is Master Karu?" "Third uncle, Master Karu is dead," Mo Yinyu explained in a very unwilling manner. "We met a thief midway. He was only elementary ranked, but he still was able to kill Master Karu. I just can't figure it out." Mo Chowga's smile disappeared at once and his face turned pale. "Have you got the thing that was on Karu?" Mo Yinyu shook her head. "It was taken by that thief." "Stupid." Mo Chowga cursed in a low voice. With a cold face, he observed, "We received information that Karu had stolen an incomplete picture of the Gate of Heaven from his teacher. His teacher, Mu Sun, is looking for him everywhere for that incomplete picture. It is said, in the God area where the Gate of Heaven leads to, are martial skills of the spirit and even sacred level. I came here in a hurry with 2 escorts just for that incomplete picture, but you let him die. How stupid." "What?" Mo Yinyu was shocked. "How could that be? Why would Karu leave Medicine Valley with you if he hadn't stolen that valuable map from his teacher? You think he was attracted by the wealth of Mo family? Humph. He was attempting to get shelter in the Merchant Union, so that his teacher Mu Sun couldn't kill him." Mo Chowga thought for a second seriously and reproached, "Tell me the details. That man must be still in the dark forest. We have to find him. The picture means a lot. We, the Mo family, have to get it." Mo Yinyu started to realize how bad the situation was. She told him all the details, except that she was violated by Shi Yin twice. "Dumbass." Mo Chowga scolded again. He flew into a rage. "You didn't keep tracking him? That bastard is only of the elementary realm. No matter how he killed Karu, he must have paid a significant price. He might have been hurt too. If you had chased him, you could have killed him easily. Too dumb. I was afraid that we would lose more. So," Mo Yinyu lowered her head in shame. "An elementary realm guy, and you were afraid of him?" Mo Chowga was annoyed. "You wasted so many resources of our Mo family. What are you doing now? Show me the way. You. Bring the ground dragon back to the Merchant Union through the secure route. Others, follow me and search." They looked for Shi Yin for 2 days, but still found nothing. Under the moonlight, Shi Yin was leaning against an ancient tree and deep in thought. He had decided to stop the chase for the time being. He took off Karu's bag from his back and opened it to look into the contents. Inside the bag was a volume on poisons, several bottles of poison refined by Karu, and 2 mortal-level martial skill books. And, apart from those things, there a dark yellow, incomplete picture on which were painted 2 hills. Shi Yin studied it for 2 days but found nothing, so he didn't take it seriously. Of the 2 martial skills, to train required a collection of black chi first. Thinking hard for 2 days, Shi Yin didn't come up with any idea of where he could find black chi, and so he soon forgot about it. Fortunately, the other martial skill didn't require anything special. One simply needed to operate his profound chi according to the meridian map. Shi Yin took out the book on from the bag and started to train in it. He was determined to learn that skill and thus made every effort in remembering the mnemonics of the skill. Was a defensive martial skill. It used profound qi to form a layer of dark light around one's body in order to defend from an enemy's assault. It was just a mortal level martial skill and needed no requirements but one: the flow of profound qi. Shi Yin packed the bag and observed the surroundings for a while. Assured that it was safe, he quietly climbed up a tree behind him, hid himself in the thickets, and started to train the. After reaching the nascent realm, his veins were as smooth as silk. Once he thought of moving his profound qi, it would immediately flow into the veins. Sitting in meditation, Shi Yin operated his profound qi quietly and trained according to the meridian map 4. The profound qi flew around his body like a gentle stream in a controlled manner. At once, Shi Yin sped up the circulation of his profound qi. Pump! Suddenly a hazy black light started emitting from Shi Yin. It gradually started forming a layer over his whole body. Shi Yin was quite sure that he was training in the correct way, so he once again accelerated the profound qi. The black light emitting his body began to grow in intensity. At first it was only half a meter, then it formed a 1-meter thick layer, exactly the same as Karu's. A long time passed. Shi Yin exhaled a mixed breath and opened his eyes leisurely. The profound qi in him had already finished 6 big circulations. Success. Shi Yin smiled. He found that it was very easy to train in the. In merely one night, he had grasped the essential part of this martial skill. With his profound qi growing, he only needed to accelerate its circulation and his defense would increase greatly. Up in the sky, the moon had disappeared. Dawn was coming near. Shi Yin was not in a hurry to leave. He calmed his mind and tried to operate the profound qi for a second time. The profound qi flew toward his left arm. Once it arrived at the first meridian, Shi Yin had another thought and his profound qi promptly started rotating in that meridian. After 3 breaths, Shi Yin changed his mind again. Immediately, the profound qi flew backwards and he felt a splitting pain in that vein. It was the phenomenon that occurred while training. Enduring the pain in his arm, Shi Yin continued to circulate his profound qi. He tried again as he according the process he previously followed in his right arm. The muscles in the left arm began to contract and slowly became dry and thin. Thin white fog was coming out of his left arm. In the white fog was a mix of negative feelings such as fear, cruelty, and despair, which had the weird power of bewildering people's minds. The negative feelings sourced from the meridians in the left arm and were temporarily bound by the fog. Once he fought with others, they would leak out of his arm directly. The sun was hanging high in the sky. Shi Yin was sweating all over while fully concentrating on his left arm. His left arm was covered with a heavy fog which was sending out a putrid smell. Shi Yin was then filled with a desire for murder. Hoo-hoo! Shi Yin was trying very hard to control his desire. He withdrew the profound qi in his arm little by little, back into his abdomen. Therefore, his arm gradually went back to normal, and the white fog around it began to drift back into his meridians through his veins, till none of it remained around his arm. Shi Yin leaned against the tree trunk with a deathly pale face. Exhausted, he was drowned in mixed feelings. This martial skill was able to induce all the negative energy in his meridians, though the negative energy would also disturb his mind. This martial skill was a double-edged sword in battle, which would make him lose his mind. It did bring a warrior enormous power, but it was at the same time very dangerous. Nevertheless, Shi Yin remembered when broke Karu's, and the odd state of Karu when his brain was invaded by the negative energy. Shi Yin thus made up his mind to train this vicious martial skill with his whole body. He wanted to know what would happen to his body when all the negative power within his all meridians was induced. He had this vague thought that as long as he finished training the first sky of, his body would have a major shift, and that his strength would surge by 2 times. Shoo! 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 There came a sound of someone approaching from afar. Shi Yin frowned and slowed his breathing. He then started observing his surroundings. Not before long, 7 shadows, each of whom were wearing a gray gown and a pale mask, stopped under the ancient tree, seeming to be waiting for something. On the shoulders of 6 of those 7 men were signs of silver stars, while on the last one's shoulder was a sign of silver crescent. One. Woon. A weird sound came from the grove ahead, sounding like a communication signal. Under the ancient tree, the tall, thin man with the crescent on his shoulder had a cold look in his eyes. He listened to the surroundings for 5 seconds and remarked, "According to the secret message, they have been spotted in a valley 20 miles away. Now chase after them." The troop of 7 people passed rapidly. 10 seconds after they left, Yin stuck his head out of the leaves. After thinking for a while, he jumped down the tree and followed after them secretly. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.